So Yubnubs
Okay.
is YouTube, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure how that started.
Ewok.
Oh, Ewok song. Yep. Let me start calling YouTube Yubnubs. God, the origins for that's even stupider than I thought. All right, so but it's at least grounded in some fiction. Okay.
I think it's specifically because I forced you to play the Ewok song for the Chatfish and the Star Wars.
I like how we're live now.
Okay, listen,
Mhm.
chat. This is a bunch cast about Yubnubbin. Now, Yubnubbin, we're gonna Yubnub about Battlefield 6. I don't know what that means, by the way. But Battlefield 6. Oh, we're also gonna talk about Marathon because some Marathon news dropped. I almost forgot about that.
You should stream to the
Was there
Discord.
really Marathon music? Are you playing music for the Chatfish 2
He's
channel?
not.
No, they don't need music.
You're so full of hate. You know that? Full of hate.
I think chat doesn't deserve music anymore
You
because
should have music that goes on
I
loop
think-
in the background. and
I think
doesn't
Squealy
distract it from the
should do the
thing.
music. Just
I
do
don't
it now.
no,
Go.
I don't like
Yeah,
Squealy.
yeah,
I hate him. I hate Squealy so much.
Ain't that bad away.
I'm trying to make him dry. You can't even do the fucking song right.
No, I can't.
There's
I don't
nothing
know
you
that song.
can do.
I'm useless.
Thank you for
Also,
saying what we all knew.
Look at little rapey man. There's a little membership. You should add it. Fuck.
Yeah, I already added that. Thanks for the membership.
All right,
Harlot.
chat bros. So there's a couple
On
of
the Horley Twirly.
there's a couple of minor news things we'll talk about too later that I don't think really matter, but they might be something that we care about. But like, you know, whatever. Let's see. So Battlefield 6 gameplay leaks online following the lab's playtesting sessions. Now, to be brutally honest, I think that these leaks, they fully expected to happen, and they wanted to happen. And the reason why I think they wanted them to happen is because when we actually look at the leaks in question, which we're just gonna first look at the first leak about this game real quick. Make sure it's not too long. Yeah. We'll watch about a minute of this. Okay. Now that we've let the game sound effects play, that was the big thing. I wanted you guys to hear the audio. Now, bear in mind, this is from a clip, and it's relatively low quality. I believe these are from people's Discord streams to their friends. That's why they look so artifacting. Was because the people that got into the test don't actually use OBS. So somebody captured a Discord stream rather than, you know, the person actually streaming it to their buds. Boohoo donates €6 and says, "Fish support, Bunchcast. Thank you for the donation. Very generous. We appreciate it." But yeah, right off the bat, audio-wise, it looks really good. And destruction-wise, when I saw them blow up buildings in this, it looks like it's one of the most destructive battlefields I've seen ever. Now, ignore the glitches of, like, you'll see floating bodies. I've seen that, or people die and they just die standing upright. It is a super early test, and this is basically the developers for DICE and EA. They fucked up so bad with 2042, because 2042 is a disaster. It's not really up for discussion. It's just period not a good game, right? But in this particular case, they realized, I think, that mistake and have basically made this as quickly as possible and early into development. Like, this is pretty early. This is late stage, like alpha, meaning that a lot of the features are kind of already designed here, but it's still in a state in which they can fix and adjust things. And it looks like it's a modified version of Battlefield 5 in terms of, like, you going down that system. They're keeping that idea so that you don't, like, fly away like a ragdoll ridiculously, and you can't really, like, spectate, but you look where you're dead, and then you can kill yourself faster by holding a button. And the reason why they do that is to incentivize people to revive their teammates so that, you know, medics actually get a chance to do the medic thing, which is good. The vehicles gameplay looks solid from the stuff I've seen. And it looks like they're setting it in a Middle Eastern town. Not sure if these assets are just things they whipped up real quick for this test, or if this is because they're intending to make a modern Battlefield Warfare game.
It's probably something they whipped up that they had like sprays and stuff in, and they were just making level designs, to be honest.
Because you can tell they slapped it in. Like, look at all the parts of that building that got destroyed that are floating.
I'm enjoying the people still standing when they're dead.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is more so to do that they're testing specific mechanics and not overall, hey, this game is going to be functional.
Yep. It might later be developed into a game, depending on how well it was received. I think that's also why they chose the Middle Eastern, like, desert vibe, because the last big memory that I remember everyone always remembers favorably is the Karkand expansion to Battlefield 3.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody reminisces about that in a positive light, and so this is like a throwback to Karkand.
Yeah, and the like you see, if you look at the fucking weapons that you get killed with, they don't look like they're fully formed.
No, it doesn't look like they're particularly modeled all that much. Like the vehicle here is decently modeled, but it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like they're more so.
What vehicle is that, Kibbs?
It's like a future Bradley. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna do some semi-futuristic, like 20s, 50s, or 40s, like warfare or whatever. Oh, 2040, they already did that. That was bad. That was.
And what if they do Battlefield 2042 redo or Redux?
I mean, if they redid it, that'd be good. But I think the 2042 name is kind of.
And you know what they did? And they make it $30.
See, that would actually repair relations quite a bit. But I don't think EA likes the idea of charging low prices, considering EA's track record. They like to charge a premium.
Let's charge you premium, and then add additional charges for everything they want.
Let's charge $80.
EA generally. I mean, so, because Bon is new as a Bunchcast guest, to paint a picture of Electronic Arts and their corporate behavior. They made a game called Dead Space, right? It sold pretty well and was received critically well. We've talked about this one before. But because it wasn't there, it didn't reach their expectations of sales, they were disappointed. And because it wasn't a blockbuster like Resident Evil was, they eventually killed the franchise. And then they brought it back because Resident Evil was doing stuff. That's why we got the remake. And it specifically coincides with the remake for Resident Evil doing very well. Hence why EA went and got the For Honor creative director, who's a big fan of Dead Space, to slap together their own remake for Dead Space to try to engage what the interest was. They do this occasionally from time to time. There are people within EA that have different motives and ambitions. There's the guy named Luke that runs the Command & Conquer stuff, and he is very passionate because he loves Command & Conquer and he cares about the franchise. But got to remember, EA is a large corporation made up of hundreds, if not thousands, of people, and they all have different goals and motivations and agendas that they want to push in that company.
Of course.
So not everybody is quote unquote our guy or our gal, if you want to use that terminology. And so in the case of Battlefield, the recent Battlefield 2042 was the last Battlefield game made, and it wasn't very good. It was originally going to be a hero shooter, and that got so much negative feedback that they had to cut the hero shooter mechanics and make it into what people wanted, which is just a Battlefield game. People, when they buy Battlefield games, want Battlefield games. EA has a tendency to do this with genres. They did this with Command & Conquer, where when the MOBA craze was big for like League of Legends and Dota, they tried to make Command & Conquer into a MOBA because they wanted to get in on the big thing of the month, the flavor of the month, basically. And because they did that, they actually killed their own franchise. The CNC franchise, which had a dedicated, loyal following and had been guaranteeably successful with almost every title, died in one night.
Oh, jeez.
So, as you can see, it doesn't take much because, again, when you're talking about millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in these projects, right? If this project fails, they can't afford this team to keep going. They're going to have to shutter something. Something has to be shut down.
I think the Battlefield Labs is a perfect tool because EA can't trust its Q&A team.
Its Q&A team has failed. Like they let so much garbage slip through that it's obvious the Q&A team is bad and needs to be gutted.
I think that can just not just for Battlefield or EA, like QA teams for just gaming in general has just been dog shit for a while now.
Yeah, like they didn't have one for Mass Effect Andromeda.
But honestly, I know this is going to be a bit of a controversial take in the industry, but I've always thought that QA teams should actually just be fans, because you'll never find more people that are more willing to check out and find bugs in your games for fucking free on top of it than paying a QA team.
You don't seem to understand. Fans will pay money to QA a game.
Yeah, fans will pay money to QA a game. So if you offer fans payment as compensation for helping that, or even just being in the credits or something, people will jump up and down to do it. And so hiring these professional QA groups is just a waste of resources.
I think it's a double-edged sword when it comes to that. I think there needs to be two different QA teams. One by people who like the game, and one by people whose entire focus is to figure out problems.
Yep. Because the big thing with problems like what he just ran through there was a glitch. That means that the QA tester needs to write that down and then report that. That stuff floating up there, write that down and report that. And then not only write down that, report that, but what caused that? What caused those bricks to be floating? Were those bricks floating when you first started the game? Was that texture always flickering from every angle, or was it only flickered from a certain angle? Like, we can learn so much from detailed reports, because it helps the programmers actually, okay, it's like, all right, it's something with the shader. We now know what it is. We just got to go into the shader and check that, and we'll easily find it.
That's the problem when you just have the fans do the testing,
because they'll just want to play the game, and they're not going to talk about
just play the game, and the ones that do some reports probably aren't going to go into hyper detail like that.
Well, that's always the issue with QA testers. Because I worked my first job in the games industry, and my only job in the industry was actually as a QA tester for playing games. And like you gotta, they do tell you to write like detailed reports, but you got to be very thorough in it. Like, you got to go step by step process. Like, if that tank you just shot at, like, how did you shoot at it? Why did it fly into the sky? Why did it fly? Was it because of its positioning? Was it because that just happens sometimes?
Like, for example, if you're trying to dodge around enemies in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, around in a circle, their fucking head turns into like an owl.
Yes.
For some reason.
And so somebody needs to report that and the triggers as to why that happens, and so that the coders can now narrow down what the actual key issue is, so that they have a quicker time finding it and a quicker time patching it.
Here's my big thing, right? Because sometimes glitches are funny.
True. That's also a question of whether or not to patch something. Like, do you leave it or do you touch it? In the case of a multiplayer shooter, you got to kind of fix everything.
You gotta get rid of it. Like in Crusader Kings 2, I would get rid of the fucking head turny thing. That just needs to go away.
It's goofy.
Kingdom Come 2.
It breaks your
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2,
yeah. It breaks immersion when it happens, because it's ridiculous looking. It's kind of demonic.
Yeah.
What if they're a demon?
To have more often, I think.
Like, fighting on stairs in that game is kind of broken.
Stairs are. They need to patch
might be
that.
a problem with the gameplay altogether than the patching.
I'm kind of hoping he gets to the, like, you see, we keep seeing him fight where there's buildings that blow up, but he didn't really blow up anything. Like,
correct.
One thing I want to see.
Hardly any of those are like destructible in that way.
When some of the buildings are destroyed, it looks really, really good. Like the destructibility. Like, that's because this is looping. Next footage. Oh,
wow.
EA's finally acting. All right, well, we got to be quick. Too late for that one.
Like, people like in Arrowhead Studios, when it has like those weird glitchy, like wonky shit, that just adds to the experience. Like getting fucking thrown from your vehicle like 100 feet into the air.
Emoting while flying through the air will reduce damage.
Which was a bug, which I believe is actually a feature now.
Some bugs do become features, not in the Bethesda way, by the way. When done well by his right,
fix it.
I like that little thing on the end of the gun just floating there. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a sight thing.
It's reminded me of the beta test for Wilds, where the guns were just PS1 models for me.
Yeah, that's
the version of Wilds.
That's the collapsible front sight post. Some guns have that. I don't particularly care for it.
This
Is it
is
playing or
gameplay
just
footage,
talking?
Moxie,
This is
that's it.
footage. I didn't
Yes.
I didn't actually get into the test, but I have some friends who did. But these are specifically leaks that have actually come out. Like there's
Yeah.
my ears. So a
Jesus.
lot of people have been streaming on Discord because you can see there's a Discord call here. But this person, which their footage is even worse, really bad. But you get to see some vehicle gameplay for like 5 seconds. But the vehicles look decent when they actually do use them in some of this footage. Whew, this one's of incredibly even lower quality than the other ones. That one's untenable. There isn't much to deduce from that. This one here, I've seen this leak. Oh my god. Continue without supporting you. Yeah. Oh, I don't go. Fuck you.
No one.
So here,
Fucking
you can actually see a little bit of the destructibility because somebody's messing around with it. The buildings are very crumbly.
Wow. That's just really satisfying.
Yep, and so the big
I
thing
can do
about
that, but-
Battlefield is that, you know, level destructibility, meaning that as you play on the level, it'll start as a town or a city, or they'll have bridges, and then as players play on it, it gets all blown up and blown to hell. And that changes how the map plays. So if there's like a sniper hiding in that building, well, now he's not able to hide as good because, well, the building's blown up. And buildings
my
will even
experience with-
collapse.
Battlefield games with fully destructible buildings like that. When you're on maps that's just buildings, it always just ends with the map is flat now.
That's funny. I actually think that's good. And I think that's always been good. And it doesn't end with maps that are just flat, because the buildings will collapse into still coverable positions. Even ruined buildings in Bad Company or Battlefield 3 or 4 always have cover. And there are some buildings that can only be destroyed to a certain degree. But that's the entire point of removing cover. That's the whole point of blowing up stuff. And so that's what makes it unique.
Interesting. Okay. I'm Googling like crazy right now. Trying to catch up on what I missed.
Making Bond do Battlefield games.
No, thank you.
Does Bonald have experience with Battlefield?
She only plays
Arnold
girl
I
Fields.
games.
I don't know anything about Battlefield. I don't even know the memes tied to it.
I remember when she was getting sassy about like, oh, I know what guy games are like, and then you start asking her, she's like,
Shut up! I don't want to hear it.
And then you
Well,
bring
I'm
ask
up
gonna be
about
great at
Cookie Mama,
Trash
she'll-
right?
she'll
I'm gonna
love you.
I'm gonna win.
you bring up stereotypical girl games. See, the thing is, chat, you
Stardew
can always
Valley,
trust me.
Cookie
I will
Mama.
never compromise. Okay, I will not let Bonald destroy this channel. Okay, single-handedly.
Can't be allowed to.
Now she's like, I wanna.
Well, yeah.
We're not going to
single-handedly
be talking
now.
about The Sims, Bon. You sit there and you research. You sit there and you
Jesus Christ!
All right, Stardew Valley win.
Mostly because the new
Alright,
Sims game
logging
isn't
onto
announced.
Reddit.
Logging onto Reddit.
Onto
Oh, crybaby mode.
This
Crybaby Bon. Crybaby.
VTuber has insulted me as a
Be a good cookie.
Hold on.
An ad.
Just to let you know, Kibbs has a Reddit account.
It's true.
He does.
Really?
All
right.
right.
Pink bush he just ran by.
Yep. Though that's
Yeah.
because it's a fucking early test. Like the
So,
hit
Kibbs-
detection and the time to kill looks like they've got a good feel for it here.
It looks decent.
So, again, the idea is that this is supposed to be a new Battlefield in the making.
Yep.
Okay, so my question is, who is heading it? Is the question that I have.
Well, I don't really know anything about the team that's currently even working on 2042, or even if they gutted that team. But the thing is, that team didn't necessarily weren't bad. It's that there was a myriad of problems. 2042 got shoved out the door too early, because EA loves doing that. They're like, is this game ready? No? Okay, we'll shove it out the door now, because we don't want to delay it. And it's like, 2042 launched, and it was fucking buggy. So it was even hard to tell whether the game was good or not because of those bugs. Now, there's another problem with the fact that they wanted to increase the player count, but there's also the fact that the maps were just too big. So map design was flawed with that too. Battlefield Bond, Scourge of the Battlefields. Chatfish are just brutal. Good, chat, good. Anti-female behavior is good, chat.
Okay, so it looks like Battlefield's like the people making it has done a bit of restructuring.
Huh?
So now it's Battlefield Studios, and it's Criterion, Dice, Ripple
Oh,
Effect, and Motive
no.
all together.
Okay.
I heard a familiar ring to that restructure.
It's combining 4 studios into just
Now,
one project.
Unlike 343, yes, it is doing something differently. So they basically rolled all those studios together, and I can tell you why they did that, because, you know, financially, because of this game doing this poorly, this piece of shit game, they probably had to shutter and fire some people. And so they're trying to conserve money by rolling them all into one studio in the hopes that they'll be able to, A, restructure and rebuild a new studio from the ground up, but that's going to be hard logistically. I'm wondering how that's going to work internally in terms of power structure.
They're the England branch for EA, or one of England's studios for EA. They worked on Need for Speed, Burnout, and Battlefield 1 and 5, and 2042.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
What, they made Burnout?
Dice is, well, they're the ones that've been mostly doing the Battlefield stuff.
They made Battlefield 5 and 2042.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
No,
Ripple Effect was formerly Dice LA. They were the creators of Battlefield Portal. Apparently that's all they really did, based on what this is saying. And Motive, Montreal, talented immersive storytellers. They worked on Star Wars Squadrons and the new Dead Space remake. So they're probably the best of the group.
Wait, which one? Motive?
Yeah.
They rolled Motive in with them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
So
Motive lost
the
its
issue-
autonomy. Sad.
It
for
sounds
them.
like they're going to be working mostly on the story for
Yeah.
the new Battlefield.
Wait, Motive
here's
is going
my
to be...
issue.
Wait, hold on, back up. Motive is working on the story?
So exactly what it says here for the Battlefield Studios. Motive, established in Montreal in 2015, Motive has developed a reputation for being talented immersive storytellers with the likes of Star Wars Squadrons and Dead Space 2023, and will wield that experience to help bring Battlefield's story to life.
I mean, at least they're having a studio with competency make the campaign. But here's the issue, right? Star Wars Squadrons... I don't remember anything about it because I don't care. The
I've not
Dead
heard any
Space
point.
2023 had the foundation of a story already made. All they had to do was connect the story of Dead Space 2023 with Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, which they did do rather well, I want to point out. Because while the original Dead Space feels a little bit disjointed with 2 and 3 because of some story problems, because they don't quite add up, the 2023 remake actually connects all those issues and connects them better to the overall main line of the story.
But that would just make them modders, wouldn't it?
I'm questioning
In a way, yeah, they're just modding with a
them
story
for the Dead
framework.
because I want to say the success of the Dead Space remake was mostly due to the guy who led the project.
Yes, the director behind it was also the creative director behind For Honor, who is supporting For Honor, and basically the reason why For Honor was able to stay alive for as long as it is credited because of him.
Yes, he, as much as I have my issues with Foreigner, most of my issues is the stuff that came later, and
Mhm.
he was probably the good spot in that because of his ideas and passion is what made it decent in the first place, and then once he kind of took a more of a backseat, it went to shit.
Yeah, because he went to go work on Dead Space because he was... I forget where there's clips, but a friend of mine, All Dog, showed me like this guy spurging out about it because he seemed like he was very passionate about the Dead Space thing. So it was always like, okay, this guy seems to like really be interested in this, though it's good chance that it's going to be really good. And then we got it, and it was really good, and actually super attentive to the lore and super attentive to the external media as well, but also being able to stand on its own. He also made a good job of the Dead Space remake not replacing the original, meaning that he specifically went out of his way to make the Dead Space remake different in terms of how it played gameplay-wise, so that you still could play the original and would have a unique experience for doing so.
Roman Played on Twitch is saying that 2042 was a good premise, and ideas. It just, was just made too early. It was fired off.
It also never got a chance to breathe, because I think we can all agree on that, because the game never did anything.
It
Like,
was.
I
dead
never
on
even
launch,
tried it.
from what I saw
I
of
played
it.
it on launch, and it was a disaster. An absolute disaster. It
The
just...
funny thing is, I don't know who made Battlefield Bad Company. What studio? It just says EA.
Might be one of the
DICE.
subsidiary internal bits. Probably just DICE. I mean, DICE used to just make games too, but as the
That's
industry
probably
bloated, DICE also just worked on the Frostbite engine a lot, and then there was all sorts of issues with the Frostbite engine because of their turnover rate, where they started losing knowledge on how to maintain the Frostbite engine because they lost all the people that made the engine, and this is where you run into the thing where because Rob and I talked about this recently, but where you lose too much knowledge internally that you actually don't know how to edit your own engine. This happened with a few games in recent memory where the teams are working on an engine that they're scared of because they don't have knowledge to actually make sure it works properly. So if they change too much, it will break. And there's been times in history in gaming where, like in the case of Victoria 2, the Paradox developers claim they don't know how the game works anymore, and so they're scared they can't recreate it. Well, that's probably true. They probably don't know how it works because probably the programmers that made Victoria 2 left. Or got old or died or something. And because that happened, that information was lost.
Yeah. I think my big issue here is that the Battlefield game, most notable for its storyline, is made by DICE.
Yep. It's bad company. I don't know if,
DICE, yeah.
like, what Motive is going to do. Are they going to try to make a serious story, or are they going to go for something more comedic and, like, Bad Company? Because if Motive is spearheading the campaign, I also feel like it's a waste of Motive's talents, where Motive should be doing
I feel
something...
like they're going to go for a series based on that they're listing Squadrons and Dead Space, which are both more serious things.
Yep. I mean...
I did find a video... I didn't watch it yet, but I posted in the stream room of Battlefield Studios, basically their announcement of Battlefield Studios and Battlefield
Studio.
Yeah, I just want them to make a Battlefield.
My eardrums.
Ow, that was loud. I'd like them to make a Battlefield that takes place in the Folded Gap.
The Folded Gap?
Yes,
oh, I
the
just
Folded
watched
Gap.
this one.
Defending that last point in breakthrough. You and your squad going together, trying to accomplish something.
Helicopter crashes into the building next to you, and all of a sudden the roof drops on your head.
The vehicle play is the destruction.
You've got tanks, you've got jets.
You get a bit sweaty in your palms.
Colored hair.
All-out military experience.
Minus 2
That's a
points.
super tank.
It's unlike any other game I've played.
Right, of that other trailer we watched a lot back of the guy in the dress.
Comes with a long history,
yeah.
spanning over 20 years now.
I think this is
Fire
mostly
Force
good than
Lost.
talking about their history.
How do we continue
Yeah.
to build on that? and
But we'll
push
let him
Battlefield
speak.
to the next level?
I've been playing Battlefield since long before I joined the team. When 1942 first came out, the amount of fun that we all sat down and had with it is just, still like a fun
Say
memory.
1942. Yeah, he looks like he was
So
there when he
joining
got
the
made.
Battlefield team, it was about the opportunity to give that team that space to do something just more amazing even than they've done in the past.
We set out with this ambitious idea of creating this new Battlefield universe. And to make that vision a reality, we had to think big.
Each of our 4 studios comes with its own culture and expertise into what we call Battlefield Studios.
One
Yep.
team that
This is an
spans
executive
across the
type,
globe
not a
and
gaming
combines
type.
20 years of franchise experience with emerging talent.
DICE has such a rich history with Battlefield. We've been working on it for years and years. But we also want to do something bigger and better than we've ever done before. And you can't do that with one studio.
Producer.
DICE is responsible for the multiplayer part of the game, which incorporates things like destruction systems, class play, squad play, vehicles, gadgets, all of those kind of underlying systems that drive the experience.
Canada.
So here at Motive, we're working on multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single player.
There's a giant
mission
cock ring,
content.
Gibbs. Do you see it?
We're
what?
driving a cinema.
I realized
Oh my
what he
God.
said. Let's
Here
keep
at
going.
Motive, we're working on
going.
multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single player mission content.
We're driving a cinematic experience to the level that's never
It's a
been
Prince
done
Philip.
on Battlefield before.
A level never done before?
Effects,
Don't know about
has
that.
a long history of working on the Battlefield franchise. we're working on an experience that is really going to open Battlefield up to a whole group of new players, but really still exciting that core audience that has made this franchise so successful.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Mainly, we've been focused on the single-player experience. So the campaign is back for Battlefield.
We have never before had this many teams and talents dedicated to the development of Battlefield. And we have a plan to create a new, exciting future for the franchise, alongside our players.
This game has so much
management.
potential. So I think it's about giving the team this time to really hone their craft.
I like how every time you see like a certain individual, like disgusting non-developer.
Because you can see that they don't care.
We have to find
There's
gameplay
like
that
corporate
really
speak,
resonates
corporate
with
speak.
There's
players
definitely
and
going to
then
be
build
issues
on
of
that.
communication between these teams.
Battlefield Labs is our new development initiative where players will get to test specific focus areas in the game.
No, the lab system
And
could
we've done
work.
similar things in the past, but this
Yeah,
is
labs is
whole
a
nother
pretty
level.
good idea.
We're doing it before we launch the game, and we're doing it with so much more content.
It's an exciting way for us to interact with our audience before things go live and make sure that.
Oh, look, he's the cool guy with the thing in his mouth.
And we have to test everything, combat to destruction to map.
He's the real gamer.
We're going to test all the new features that we're putting out, and we're going to.
That's why they're in hoodies, kids, and a hat.
Vehicles and gadgets.
That hoodie's also pressed if you didn't see the
But
creases
also
on it.
validate what players are expecting from Battlefield.
The RGB headphones.
That feedback is crucial. in
Yeah, what's
helping
wrong
us
with that?
know what to prioritize, what needs improvement.
Why
and
do you
what
need
Look,
your
his
headphones to
hoodie
go
has
off?
creases, Kibbs.
It
He doesn't
does.
wear hoodies.
So now's the time to test all the experiences.
He
our
bought
teams
that
have been
hoodie.
building for our upcoming
Yeah,
launch and
specifically for
beyond.
that.
Okay, we need to back that up.
Sorry, I was distracted. Look at it. Look at the crease.
Yeah, no, it's not like he doesn't wear hoodies. Like either he bought. Okay, I know this is a weird thing to hyperfixate on, by the way, but this is like fellow kids moment here. See,
I'm a
Bucky
game
Bucky
developer,
points
too.
this out, but the thing is, with little bits of things like that are always like, okay, that's kind of sussy.
That's a brand new hat, by the way.
It is too. He doesn't wear hats. He doesn't wear
just went
sweaters.
shopping before this. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we know. That was the point we're making. Is he went shopping before this.
Specifically for this video, so that he could look more down to earth.
Yeah. So Bond, how hard is it to keep creases and hoodies from the package?
Guess it's pretty tough, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
see how this kind of is like, this is them trying to be more down to earth. It's them humbling themselves. Now, whether it's genuine or not, but the reason why they're doing this is to try to appeal. Now,
I would expect this guy to wear like a long sleeve collared shirt. Like he's he's been there a while. He's like the older dude.
yeah,
I don't expect him to be wearing fucking hoodies with a cap.
this harkens back to, if you look at like old dev footage for like Halo and stuff like that, or like the earlier 2000s, before these other initiatives and other things got involved in gaming, where it was just a bunch of young dudes making video games, and they looked greasy as fuck. And there's like 7 boxes of goddamn pizza stacked in the back corner that you can see, with like empty bottles on people's desks because they've been literally crunching, away working on games.
True Battlefield experience.
We're pre-alpha, so now's the time to test all the experiences our teams have been building for our upcoming launch and beyond.
Like this whole shot here is
Where you can learn
just a
more
bunch of
about
people
our
they
new
specifically
closed
got,
testing
because
environment.
notice how they're trying to appeal to every man. They got this standard little ginger dude, they got the standard little chubby dude, they got the standard like black dude, standard little girl, standard little dude, standard little dude.
Girl.
Yeah, like characters. As
Like
in,
short people, tall people.
they're trying to be like, look, this could be you.
Also, look at the time, Gibbs. Look outside.
It's night.
Yeah, why the fuck would anybody be at work at night playing this game?
They went here specifically to get this shot. This was done for cinematographic purposes, because it makes a really good shot, right?
It does.
It
Until you
looks
start
it's like
thinking about the why the fuck would they be there at night before
there's,
work?
there's a lot of psychological things in this trailer that they're trying to do. It's
Do you
like
think they're actually playing the game or just watching a video?
oh no, I think they probably are. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's not hard to log into the thing and then move around.
Yeah, the big thing is what I think they're doing is that the reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to evoke an emotion. Many of us who have been gamers for a very long time have fond memories of LAN parties or being in the group and doing what they're doing right now. Hanging out, playing games with the boys, having a stack of pizza, good shit. But this is to hearken
how the
you to that.
text also has the trademark in it. We call it Battlefield TM Labs.
Also, look at the dude's microphones. Look at the women's microphones.
This guy right here is a real gamer.
To the left, yeah. Well, yes, but look to the left. Red. Look at the woman's.
Gray.
The woman, kid. There you go. Look, it's red. Meaning it's off. She's not talking to anybody.
She don't want to talk. Honestly, they're all so close together. There's not a real reason.
The dude's on the left, I think his fucking microphone's not even on.
Yeah, that would stress me out. Being in a room this compact.
And then
I don't think these are the
good point.
same devices.
Why did they turn the lights off anyway?
Why did they turn the lights off? Purely for cinematographic visuals, right? So that only the illumination is coming from your gaming PC. Now, they even put this is, I know, weird, but notice how there's backlight on these monitors?
Yep.
There are actually little LED lights along here that are planted so that they actually shine towards those people and on the back of their monitors to help illuminate that against the backdrop. Again, this is all fabricated. It's fun. These also, things always are. What?
Never mind. Keep going. I thought I saw something, but I might be wrong. So just keep going. It's just I don't like any of this.
No, these things are not that interesting. Like this, oh look, I can see some gameplay. Because this is what the game actually looks like. The people those people were testing. If we go back, this is what that game actually looks like. And that's important to know because we couldn't see the visuals because of those Discord streams. But this looks pretty good visually, and even here it's a little bit of motion blur.
I'd say this is in-game rendering, to be honest.
Yes, pre-alpha gameplay footage subject to change. This is all pre-rendered cutscenes.
Yeah.
But it's all probably in-engine.
Because watch that guy dodge out of the way of the blast, like in Stagger.
They did that in the games as well, by the way, where you automatically
but the NPCs, not humans.
Oh, I don't think any of these are NPCs. These are all just
Yeah.
a camera moving through.
Well, keep
Oh no,
watching,
he's
so-
gonna shoot that guy.
Yes.
Who's running into cover? Oh no, dead.
That's
Oh my god, he did! He
That's
did!
a true multiplayer experience. Shooting.
Did you see that?
Yeah, the blood.
Yep.
So so it is an engine because that actually happened. So that's actually important to denote here. Because if we rewind here, oh, let's just mute the audio when I do that. Okay, so as he runs past, you see that blood splat? Oh, I can't pause at the right time. My timing is terrible. He actually shoots that guy. So follow closely, chat. This guy here
Watch his hip on the left side.
will actually expel blood on the left side of him. Watch closely. Oh, God. There. Right there. Enhance. He just killed his own friend. He just killed this.
But he doesn't. So my reason this is a pre-rendered thing is because he doesn't react as if he got shot.
No.
You only see the blood splatter because the game indicates that a bullet touched the mesh.
Because when models get hit, they sort of like undulate a little bit whenever they get hit from where they're hit to give you the simulation of impact on kinetic impact of a round hitting a target.
Donate says you can press dot to go frame by frame.
Dot to go frame by frame. Whoa.
Dot.
Where's
What?
dot?
No, the dot is in the period, Gibbs.
It's not quite frame by frame now, is it? Chat.
Okay.
You lying little saps.
That's going by 5 seconds. You hitting the arrow keys?
Oh, as in it
Shift
moves like
dot.
that. Okay, so this is interesting. So now we can actually see a close-up of that destructibility.
Frank says in-engine is now also AI rendering. What is the real render is the good question these days.
That's true. This is all what they want you to see.
See how these dodging and running stuff? That's NPC stuff.
Those guys are shooting at nothing.
Yep, they're shooting at indicating that they need to shoot the buildings, so they're shooting the buildings.
Yep, there's a bad guy in the
this
building.
RPG just takes out the entire building is kind of funny to me.
Boom, 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 boom.
Didn't follow OSHA regulations.
Fuck OSHA. All my homies hate OSHA.
All my homies die at work.
Shine up now. So yeah, this whole trailer is fabricated. This is for normie shit. Like, it doesn't really tell you anything. Honestly, we talked about more deep dive stuff than this trailer did.
My concern with the Battlefield Studios though is like, okay, so there's
logistical nightmare.
Some of these teams, yes, like these teams having to communicate with each other, and they're all going to be on different time schedules.
Yep, because they're scattered across the globe. And they're operating on business hours, so they're not indies. Indies have the benefit of they're nuts. They're retardedly insane. These guys are only going to work at certain times. They have 4 studios spread across the globe in different time syncs. This is going to be a logistical communication nightmare. But the thing is, they're doing the right moves with like the labs initiative. At the same time, they're also compartmentalization. So if every team does their part correctly, and whoever's the key to success here is actually oversight. Whoever's in charge of overseeing these projects is entirely the only person who's going to make or break this project.
It sounds like it's basically.
So
it's
as
really
long as they got
2
somebody
studios
competent,
doing the work.
Yeah, the other ones are just support teams, which isn't surprising. I mean,
yeah, it's DICE is doing basically the big lifting of the work. They're doing all of the mechanics, just destructibility.
Motive's just making a single player campaign so that DICE isn't harried by that. Yeah.
Yes, Motive's doing that, and the other 2 are support.
Here's the issue that I hear. Whenever I hear, hey, we're pulling in 4 teams to make a really great game. Do you know what I hear? That they need 4 fucking teams to make a game.
That's
where it used to be. Well, they used to be able to do it with
one team. Yep, one team made the campaign, one team made the multiplayer, one team did it all. But
and surely, like, more people working on something is usually more of a hassle. Think about it, like, cooking-wise.
But my biggest point was
studio bloat.
Who made Battlefield Bad Company? One studio.
Yep.
Why do they need 4 to replicate the greatness of 1 from over a decade ago?
So there's a couple of factors that play into this. The first, and this isn't me defending them, by the way. I need to state that right away before anybody attacks me. But the first factor is bloat, right? So as these studios have continued to exist, usually they bloat and they get bigger and they get bigger. The second factor is that as they bloat and get bigger, they make more like groups for different things. Like, okay, we want to make the campaign, but the campaign is going to be like its own big thing. And the multiplayer now needs to be bigger and better because it's an iterative game, right? So it's part of an iterative series. Each game needs to be better than the previous title. Logically speaking, right? Has that been true for Battlefield? No. But that should be, technically. Each game should always be harder to make after the first game, but at the same time easier, right? Because they have the framework. The issue is that they have no framework to work with. 2042 was a misstep. Battlefield 5 was a misstep. There's nothing legacy-wise in the last several years now that they've produced, besides Battlefield 1, that has a framework that was successful and made a successful title. So they need to restructure everything from the ground up logistically. Now, I don't know why they need so many teams for this. Like, I feel like you'd be better off just expanding a team logistically to make them do better that. And the campaign thing is nothing new, by the way.
I can tell you why.
Well, I know the big thing is 3-year development cycle. Like, that's the big crunch.
Sure. I'm just thinking it's more like if they specialize a team in storytelling, they can lease out that team to other game.
Yep. EA likes to compartmentalize because they like to think that it's like, oh, it's like a machine shop. I can just move this around and move that around. But it doesn't work that way. And they keep doing this. They've been doing this to their games for a while. And this is why there's a trail of dead studios. Because like, oh, let's take this hyper specialized studio that's called, I think they were called Victory Games, or EA Los Angeles is what they got rebranded as. Let's take EA Los Angeles and let's make EA Los Angeles make a MOBA game. Well, EA Los Angeles' experience is solely in RTSs. They're specifically Command and Conquer RTSs. A MOBA is not the same type of game. It's a very different game, which requires a very different skill set to make. Each team making... There's a reason why certain studios don't do genre jumps, and there's a reason why indies do. Indies do because usually when an indie makes a genre jump, like the Dusk developers we met, we're making a immersive sim genre, is because if you notice immersive sim to FPS, they're actually... While they are different, they aren't as different mechanically and foundationally. Now, the jump to RTS and MOBA should not be the same as well, but when you take a team that's massive experience with something and they're making a product for something else, and then you have them go do something for something completely different, you're going to get a very different product, and that's going to be something that's going to very much upset people.
You're kind of straying from the original audience's...
Yep, what they want.
Way,
so if you make a Battlefield game and you call it, this is the new Battlefield game, and then you make it into a hero shooter, people are going to be rightfully upset because they don't want a hero shooter. If they wanted a hero shooter, they'd be playing Marvel Rivals, or they'd be playing Overwatch, or they'd be playing the Vanguard, or whatever that other one's called, I can't remember. Either way, they would be playing that type of game. They wouldn't be playing this one. Now, the only exception to this rule, Bon and Chatfish, is specifically spin-offs. Spin-offs are the exception to the rule. A spin-off doesn't lie to you. A spin-off tells you exactly what it is. It's, for example, we'll take
Blood Dragon.
Blood Dragon Far Cry was a spin-off, that's correct. Another spin-off is Halo Wars. Halo Wars is a RTS spin-off of an FPS franchise. And it's regardless of what it is objectively, it has been received pretty well, which means that people genuinely liked it. It didn't lie to people about what it was. It told people on the box what it was, right off the cover art, right to the images, right to when they discussed it. It was a spin-off. Spin-offs are acceptable.
So you're saying that they didn't even mention that that Battlefield was going to be a hero shooter?
No, they tried to drop it on people.
So they Battlefront started doing hero shooter stuff.
Yep, legacy wise. So this is something we need to let's talk about the history, because this is all connected, right? So we need to talk about recent history. We're not going to go back to the original Star Wars Battlefront, but this was the game that preceded Battlefield 2042, and this game it's a shooter based on an old Star Wars game called Star Wars Battlefront 2, which shares the exact same name.
And 3.
And so the big thing is that this, you can play as the soldiers, but you can also play as the heroes and fight with heroes in this game. And so people are really cool with that because that's what the Battlefront games have always been about. It's a hybrid of action shooter, being a soldier, or being a hero and running around and shooting people, right? And so it's a hybrid of both fields. They thought they could take this concept and apply this to Battlefield. The issue with that is that Battlefront people like this. Battlefield people don't want this. You see what I mean? Like you're taking ideas from other games and slapping into your game without thinking about should we or can we, you just did it because you think you're God.
I might have missed when you answered this, but by any chance was the game released around a time where the hero shooters were kind of popular? Were they just trying to jump on the bandwagon or something?
Yep, it's within that ballpark. Hero shooters are still popular today. But if we type in Battlefield 2042, which this is the bad one, right? You can see right here, it's never really recovered since its launch. It's just stuck. And this comes from the entire fact that, like, it visually doesn't look like a bad game, but, like, the thing I'll point out here, see this girl here? It's she's very well designed. It's not just a random soldier you're playing as. This is a named character.
An operator.
An operator is what they call it. And because they're going with the operator, like even that person there, does that look like just a soldier? No, it's too detailed. These are named characters. Even that guy over there, I recognize his head. They're all meant to be recognizable at a distance because they're meant to be operators, which is this game's name of hero shooters. And nobody wants that. Let's rewind the clock on Battlefield to simply, even the one I don't care for.
Battlefield 3.
We'll go to an even more recent one, 5, right? Do these look like heroes? Just random faceless soldiers. And then when they do have a face, they just look kind of like, that's not a hero. It's just there's just a soldier who's got his helmet.
Actually, those two faces look pretty similar, actually.
Yeah.
They're just
Are you
soldiers.
saying they all look the same? Squealing?
They're not. Oh, jeez. It's really wow.
They're not trying to paint it anywhere else, because the reason why his face isn't the focus here is because you're supposed to look at this and go like, oh, cool, I could be the World War II soldier, you know, fighting on the battles in World War II in these historical battles and being that hero who turns the tide of the battle, you know? That could be me. I could be that character playing
in 2042. You're supposed to think, oh wow, I can get the operator, and then I can get points.
Yep, we'll rewind the clock back to 3 as well, and 3 is very much
even more so.
Even more so. You're just a soldier. Like, they're not even focusing. They're focusing more on the soldier's gear, silhouette, and what they're wearing.
Like in everything, the effects are the focus, not the people.
Yep, you get to participate in this really cool thing. Like, let's wind the clock a little bit forward with Battlefield 4, because this illustrates that perfectly, that concept. If this is the actual trailer, I think it is. But see, these troopers, faceless. Like, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to easily insert yourself into any of them, because you could be any one of them. You could be the guy in the plane, the guy in the helicopter. They're all players, right? And the big thing about Battlefield is it's always about combined arms, meaning it's a large sandbox. There's tanks, there's troops, there's helicopters, there's planes.
And the promotional material is all
gameplay,
first-person view.
It's you.
You're not running around looking at the operator.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like, look, this is you playing the game right here. This is what it'll look like. And it does look like this.
Yeah, it does look like that, yeah.
This is actual gameplay footage. They're not trying to hide what it is. You can do that.
More faceless soldiers. Oh yeah, this was fun when I fucking got caught in it the first time. It was the fucking building was collapsing.
Yep, you can blow up skyscrapers and stuff. And Nook took out a helicopter because of trick shot. And this trailer is showing you everything you can do in this game. And then they're playing the melody right here because they're psyching you up, right? This is the theme of the franchise. Everybody will recognize this if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, breaking the fucking dam. That was good. This game fucked me up because I thought it was a continuation of the Battlefield story. I was like, where the fuck is everybody from 2? And then Battlefield 3 did that too. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, when are we getting the other guys back?
And it's showing off for destruction. And everything you saw there, you can do. Even the cover art guy.
Fun.
This cover art guy, just random dude running at you with a gun. He's going to go blast you.
I don't even know if he has a name.
He doesn't. He has no name. He's just a dude that runs. He's just a dude that runs.
Just the dude that runs. That's crazy.
Now, the game does have a campaign. The campaign is bad, but nobody cares about Battlefield's campaign, except for Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2. Everybody, when they think about Battlefield, they think about the multiplayer and playing it with friends.
I don't recall, but the footage for 2042, did that show people playing as operators and doing that stuff?
That might be revised footage. I don't think they have the old footage because remember, when that came out, they got such a backlash. It was insane. This is 2042.
No, that was an operator.
Yep. Oh, yep, because you could play in different modes.
It's fucking...
Yeah, this is after they removed the hero thing. So notice how the focus is trying to be more like that one, actually.
Yeah, I don't see any of the operators anymore.
because nobody liked that. But they're still in the game, and the issue is that the game had a troubled idea and identity. It doesn't have an identity, right? Each Battlefield game covers a point in history, right? The Battlefield 3 and 4 are about modern warfare. It's like what it would be like to be a US soldier, a Russian soldier, a Chinese soldier, right? But if you play Battlefield 1, it's like what is it when you're in World War 1? Or if you play Battlefield, 5, World War 2. And so each Battlefield has a different theme and where it's set. So it's 2142 is set in like future, it's got mechs. Vietnam is set in Vietnam. 1942 is set in the year 1942,
I got it for you, Kibbs.
You got the...
I have the gameplay trailers for the operators.
Yes, before they post it in the chat. Good. So let's
When
look at
did they
this.
remove? Did they actually remove operators, or did they?
They're still in the game, as far as I know. But look at this. This is before. Look, named dude. With heroes abilities.
Oh.
The thing is, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be a bad game. It's just nobody wants this.
Yeah, they're catering to a completely separate.
So
Webster Mackey.
Yeah, he looks distinctly different.
He gets a grapple hook.
Thump.
And therefore the
that's
best character in the game.
He's got unique kill animations because he's a hero. And so you can see that the game has mixed problems with what it is, right?
Let's get started.
Like, I don't want to be old woman or random dude named Mackie. I want to be random guy with no name.
Random guy named Kib.
Yeah, random guy named Kib that got ran over by tank. Got ran over by tank. It feels more like a Call of Duty trailer.
Yeah.
That's fucking Batista.
Oh my god. See, you don't care about the voice lines of these characters because when you're playing this game is a team game, Bond. So how it works is that you join with a group of friends, right? A game that's ongoing. There'll be 60 people, 64 people there, but you will be in your party of like 5 or 6 people, and your party of 5 or 6 people you're talking to, and the other squads are all that way. So you join as a squad in a team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the idea of Battlefield is it's big. There's a lot of people playing. It's not a like when we do the Halo community events in our server. It's like maybe 16 people, so it's 8v8.
Oh my god, they made the Indian dude tech support.
Oh no!
Why?
They stereotyped him.
The Indian guy gonna be?
He's a hacker.
Hacker man.
For India.
Hold on. He's not that experienced. He just knows how to do simple shit.
No, don't
Him
redeem the
hacking
gift
means that
card.
He turns it off.
Have you tried turning your computer on and off?
Place of birth, Mexico. Like, who cares where you're born? The only people that care is where you're gonna die. It's gonna be on this map or that map. This map or
Oh,
that.
so that gameplay trailer did have him. He's right there. He is the dude with the shield. So in the first game, yeah, that right there, that's him.
Yep. These don't look like
look,
soldiers.
all of her piercings and everything.
So fashionable. I'm glad they got fashion in Battlefield now.
Call me weird, but I've never really cared about like this is where this hero is from. It's like honestly, the kit is more important than anything else. Like, I really don't give a shit about where they were born.
I think you might be right, Frederick, but yeah. So Battlefield was always about big player counts, right, Bond? So 64 players, right, was the idea. Then this one, they were trying to go for 128 players versus 128 players.
You think that when they're doing that, by the way, like pointing out their nationality, do you think they're trying to emulate TF2?
I think what they're trying to do is say, hey, Korean person, you have a character in this game. You should go play it.
Because God forbid you would never play this game otherwise. God forbid.
That's
so
too busy playing.
terrible.
They're too busy playing RTSs. They're like 20 years old.
I am Vladimir. Oh no, it's fucking goddamn Wotaski. It's Wotaski.
So as you can see, these are all the hero stuff. So they just cut out the hero parts in the trailer and just put in like the gameplay of it. But this is these are the trailers for their fucking characters.
Yep, they've been promising the 128 player count for a long time, but they couldn't do it because consoles. I think this is the first Battlefield to do it, but they fucked this game up so bad that nobody cared.
Yeah, it's like, when was the first time they've actually promised that they were going to try to get player counts that high? I don't even remember. It's been so long.
I think Battlefield 3. They were talking about getting the player counts up higher.
Yeah. So that was what they were originally going for, was Heroes.
Now that you've seen it modeled, do you want to play it?
All right.
Sorry. When?
So, moving on. The big thing I think we can all take away from that is that they've definitely lost sense of direction. And so, to basically add to the point, there's no sense of direction anymore for Battlefield. There's no framework for Battlefield. And so bringing on 4 studios probably isn't going to fix anything. It's probably just going to add more logistical nightmare.
It will, more than likely, but it does seem like they're at least trying to refine their
They
ways.
are. This whole labs experiment thing is probably the best thing that is actually coming out of this. It doesn't necessarily mean that, like, oh, there's no hope for Battlefield. I think them doing labs is proof that there is hope, but I do think it's important to underline and criticize certain things. Like Artemis noticing the fucking guy with the creases in his fucking sweater. Like, at first glance, you don't think anything about it, like, why does it matter? Well, it's fabricated. And its fabrication is important to call out because these people are going out of their way to dress up like you, that you guys do, you Chatfish, right? They're trying to look like you. Trying to look.
Call me weird.
after seeing
when I'm
the
playing
character.
when I'm playing a first-person shooter, I really don't care if the person looks like me.
Yeah.
You know what,
Well,
Gibbs? You know how I connect with people? I also iron my hoodies out. You know.
You
That
little
iron
weirdo, you little freak.
After seeing the Romanian
little
character,
freak.
Mythical says he has to play the game now.
We have like a group meetup like in a few years time from now, and Bucky's there with his fucking creased fucking
Bucky shows
sweatshirt.
up in a full
Like
squirrel
every
fursuit.
No, if he's not showing up in his if he's not showing up in his suit, I'm just gonna call him a liar.
like you look at his pants and it's got the fucking sticker on it still.
Hold on. If I don't show up in a suit, you're gonna call me a liar? As in I wear suits, or
When did he promise he wears suits? What the fuck? Casually.
No, he never did. I'm saying like that's just going to ruin my mental image of it.
I mean, Bond knows I have a suit.
I think everyone has a
like
suit
a
though,
blue
but for
vest.
different
I
reasons.
assume you had a suit.
The white collared shirt.
Yeah. Mine's for going to weddings though.
Mine's for going to your mom's house.
Which one of his moms?
That's true. You gotta pick
the one he doesn't like.
I love both my moms.
Doesn't narrow it down.
So therefore, you're going to some random lady's house.
Yeah, that's right, chat. Kibbs has 2 moms.
Yeah, I do. I also have 2 pops.
Oh, you have 2 dads?
Yeah. I like how this has gone completely over their heads. Like,
No, I know what Artemis is trying to do, and I know what you're trying to do, so I'm just sitting and watching.
see, I win by ignoring it.
I was trying to see which like he would say a comment that says like the one you don't like. He says, "Oh, okay," and then that would set it up to where whenever if one of his moms ever watched that, they would now fight over who is referring to who.
Now, I know which mom of mine watches my channel more than the other, but I do know they both watch. But I don't love them differently because they don't watch me all the time.
Oh, so
Oh,
if they did, you'd love them differently.
So you don't love them equally. Gotcha.
Wow. Rude.
Because they don't watch your show.
They think the Chatfish thing is like cute and adorable.
Lame.
They also
Oh,
think
okay.
no, they think you guys are cute. They think some of your Chatfish choices are weird. Death 6227, I'm sorry, but the Chatfish Nomicon is not popular with the old woman.
The guy with the feet mask.
We don't talk about that guy.
That's
Never.
fine.
We
I
don't
love
talk
Chatfish
about that.
too now.
He may be.
Well-
He may have a Chatfish, but he's not. He's not accepted. He's not accepted.
You may sit on this council. We don't award you the rank of Chatfish.
Frank says, "Do you love your Chatfishes in the amount of donations they give?" No, I love all my Chatfish, even the dumb ones, like Night Motorcyclist. He's like, "No, but Night Motorcyclist." Come on.
Doesn't Night Motorcyclist have a Chatfish?
He does. He just doesn't wear it very
Pretty
often.
sure.
He's such a fucking motorhead that he only has a stupid motorcycle picture.
Wow, it's not stupid. Night Motorcyclist, I
He's
respect your
stupid
choices.
motorcycle.
Just make sure to donate to me and my causes.
What is your current cause, Bucky?
Timekeepers.
Also, no. So it's time for us to talk about bad things, Chatfish. All right. Besides Bucky. He's like, what the fuck? So
Actually,
no, shut up. Okay, fine. Go ahead. What do you have to say?
I was gonna say,
I don't want you to
since
feel
Battlefield
bad.
seems like it's starting to go in a better direction, it'd be interesting to look at another big franchise that's just doubling down instead.
Uh-oh.
You want to look at COD?
I'll post in the stream room specifically what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, let's take a look.
See.
This is the latest thing from Call of Duty. Or latest ad for for their game.
Wow.
Call of Duty.
Grab the,
Wait.
go grab the video with Nicki Minaj in it.
No, no. Call of Duty has fallen. Yes, Call of Duty used to be. Not only was it refreshing when Call of Duty first came out, but it was that thing that came out that revitalized first-person shooters. But then at the same time, it did it so well, it killed them. It killed the FPS genre.
Chat, look at that new character. Does that scream Call of Duty to you? Like it has completely lost its sense of identity.
It has no identity.
You know what that
it's basically like
character looks
Fortnite,
like?
yeah.
Kind of. I was gonna say it. The character just looks like generic modern day esque assassin.
Well, it's for their new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover event or whatever.
I do want to point out that
Ninja
crossovers
Turtle.
don't necessarily imply the death of a fucking identity of a game, but in the case of Call of Duty, they rely so heavily on crossovers that it is.
Yes, the point is like
It's the only thing they got
Teenage Mutant
going.
Turtles, like there's nothing there aesthetically that would work for Call of Duty at all.
So there's no difference in my eyes between what Call of Duty is doing and what Fortnite has done.
Yeah,
pretty
they're
much.
the exact same.
Yes, the Call of Duty franchise has degenerated as time has gone on. Oh my god, what is that? A whore? Disgusting.
Go ahead and click on that one.
11.
Oh, click on the ad.
Because you
Not
didn't
only
bring
that,
it up
you
in the
opened the
fucking.
fucking ad.
I clicked on the ad.
Stupid kid. Oh, she's
Is some sort of Call of Duty game?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh my goodness.
I showed us a while back. It's
What the fuck? I hate
Hello,
that.
Borderlands. I didn't expect to see you here.
How do I get that?
You know what's funny? The rainbow shitting itself thing isn't even new in the games industry. This actually is. I remember seeing this happen to Red Faction Armageddon. Red Faction Armageddon did this, and it was also the last Red Faction game that was ever made because it lost any sense of its identity. It was a bit more than that, but it started to just be like, what are you? And it's like, I don't even know what I am. This doesn't even look like Call of Duty.
It's not like there's no visual identity to COD at all, and they're just doubling down more and more on it.
Them doing that slide thing makes me want to friggin' brain myself.
Oh my god, the sleeves.
Oh my god.
It's such an outfit. Ah.
You're not allowed to have that.
Damn.
But denied. I'm putting my foot down.
It's
good.
Interesting to see because Call of Duty, if they keep going, like it is just Fortnite. Eventually, it's just gonna like
Nicki Minaj.
Oh my god,
there's
kill
any of the
me.
original audience in the game anymore.
So the fun part is, kids, if you look
Mute
how
that.
she walks. If you look how she walks, Gibbs, it's actually a male model.
Yep, but with the
mesh.
female skin, yeah.
Yep.
Kill him, Nikki.
Oh my god. Bonald needs to be
I think
gatekept.
India would actually like that.
Bonald needs to be gatekeep girl boss. Literally gatekeep this girl boss out. That's
And her stilettos is crazy.
So bad.
Oh, it's so rancid.
Look, it's Gibbs in the second image.
You can always see
Oh,
Kim's
that's what you're
watching
talking
this,
about.
by the way. You can always tell what Kibs has been watching recently.
No, it does.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, I
I've
can.
I've never
Don't-
looked at that. Okay, I've never
Yeah.
looked at that. I don't even know what that
Yeah.
is.
I see Battlefield
You
Labs.
just-
thing
I
in
don't
the
even know
corner
why
there.
that's there. That makes sense. This makes sense. That makes
Uh-huh.
sense.
Uh-huh.
That might make sense.
Yes. it
That
does, it's
doesn't.
Killzone. I think it all makes
That might
sense.
make
You
sense.
just,
That's not
you just,
Killzone. That's
And this is good.
Wolfenstein.
And
yeah.
I'm sad. I'm trying to find because I remember there was a video game that like literally like that kill animation thing was just like a regular gun, or not regular. You had to beat the game, and then it was a like cheat unlock.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find it. The issue is because that's the most recent thing. When I
Ugh.
try to type in like pony gun, like that's the thing that pops up right now.
Reminder that COD had a Gundam crossover. What the fuck?
It did have a
It
Gundam
had a Gears
crossover.
of War too, didn't it? Oh no, it was Warhammer. They had a Warhammer crossover.
They did do
Yeah,
that too.
Warhammer.
The problem with these crossovers is that they do them. I don't know why they do them, right? I mean, Helldivers 2 did them, right? But the difference is Helldivers 2 is doing them at the moment, principled. What I mean by principled, I mean there's a visual direction. The director himself explicitly stated that the reason why they were doing it was they were doing it because they thought it would be fun, but they also wanted to do it because they wanted to do it with settings that felt appropriate for crossovers. That is the difference between an appropriate crossover and an inappropriate
Cash grab.
crossover. Yeah. Because that's just there to cash grab people that like that thing and get them to buy the thing without any sense of heart, passion, or soul put into it. It's so lazy that Nicki Minaj is on a male model mesh. It is corporate, it is soulless, there's no passion here. Versus in Helldivers, they actually, when they did the Killzone crossover, not only did they do a respectful crossover to the Helgas thing, but they also tried to bake in the Stall Arms thing into lore, and then also make the weapons, mechanical. So it had a bunch of weapons from the setting. They had unique mechanical properties that offered unique gameplay experiences. Nicki Minaj doesn't.
Now, last thing for Call of Duty though, a potential good spot that has nothing to do with the actual game.
I hate Chumba for bringing up Call of Duty.
Chat, if you want to get on the Call of Duty Ghosts thumbnail, today is your last day.
Okay, that's
If
where
you
you're
want to get
segueing.
on
I thought you were going to post another cringe-ass video for me.
You
to
know
watch.
what? I got to figure out whether or not Bond.
Oh,
can play Call
Kibbs,
of
I
Duty
found the
Ghosts.
Red Faction one.
What?
Oh yeah.
No. What else?
I don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's also interesting
I can
because
cover my screen.
Battlefield Labs things is definitely getting a lot of positive hype for Battlefield again, and Battlefield's not really advertised at all on EA's main page.
Yeah, because they don't have a viable product.
Where did that marathon news go? I had it earlier.
The extraction shooter.
Oh my god. Don't tell me that the only thing I have is that Twitter post.
That's horrible, Hands.
That's definitely Lisa Frank-esque right there.
I fucking hate the fact that I know that name.
I made you watch like an hour-long video of it, of course.
What are you talking?
Don't worry about it. Don't
About
ask.
You know, I don't want to know.
Frank.
You don't want to know.
I think
She
Squealy
told
should
me.
be
I'm
made
telling
now.
you. You don't want to know.
You wanna watch an hour-long video?
No.
Oh, I can't find the article anymore. It's gone.
I watched an 8-hour-long video though.
Okay,
So
back
if
to
you can
video
stay-
I only
game
found a
stuff.
picture. Yeah.
Yes.
There's too many guests, I think, for this time. But next up we have is Bungie's Marathon. I have the picture of it. I do not have the actual fucking thing anymore. Because I, of course, forgot to save it. Bungie's Marathon will feature in-game seasonal events, and there's also new job listings, which they're revealing so that they're actually hiring on for the Marathon game. But what that means right off the bat with the seasonal event things is that we can obviously deduct that the extraction shooter that is Marathon is going to be probably the same detritus that we get from Destiny. You found it? Did you, Bucky? No, you didn't. You posted some more rainbow unicorns. Oh, no, that was Hands.
That was Hands.
I literally told you that I found the Red Faction one, and that's what I was talking about.
Is it a video that you're looking for?
No, he's
No.
looking for the article.
I found
Oh, the
this.
article.
So yes, seasonal events. The seasonal events thing isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's also a weird thing to fixate on. And I also have to ask the question. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about a franchise that has been dead for decades. Marathon hasn't had a game since Win Hands. Like, how many years has it been?
Fucking hell, it's basically like
25, 24
when
years.
Halo
or whatever.
started is basically when Marathon died.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been 26 or 25 years or whatever since like there's been a Marathon game. I can't remember the exact year count, but it's been a goddamn long time, right? A quarter of a century, right? That's what we're going to go for. The big issue with this is that I don't think the people that work at Bungie know what Marathon is at all.
I don't think they were alive.
Yeah.
I can guarantee that no one there does.
Many of the people that work on this project right now probably A, weren't alive, B, probably don't give a shit, and C, they have no idea where to take this franchise. It's been dead for so long at this point that you'd be better off rebooting it, but then I'd still beg the question, do you know what you're making? Because I don't think they do, right? An extraction shooter of Marathon really doesn't feel like it really lines up with what Marathon was about, but at the same time, like, I could see it because the AI that's insane that's having the humans that go around do stuff. I barely remember the plot of it, but it was it's a trip. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Hans, because I think you're familiar with this a bit more than I am. But like, there's like rogue AIs that are controlling like this group of humans, and they have them go do like these operations against like this other race of aliens, right?
For Marathon?
Yeah, and then like, but the AI is like insane.
I don't really know much about it. Basically, I just like spent like a day and like watched a bunch of videos about it. But
yes.
the big TLDR is there's a few different AI controlling different groups of humans, and the main character you're playing is pretty much one of these AI that's in the process of going rampant. That's pretty much the end of the Marathon story, is a in-universe explanation for player-generated maps.
Also, the end of Marathon is basically your character is evolving pretty much into a god. You can manipulate time.
Yeah. So here's the big thing, Kibbs. Remember that Fantastic Four movie that came out that changed up all the fucking canon for no reason?
It didn't make any sense with anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and in an interview, the actors were asked, so why did you guys make was it Warner Brothers? I think it was Warner Brothers or Paramount or whatever. Why did they decide to make this movie? Why are they making this movie? And then the fucking actors couldn't answer the question.
Because they don't know. I feel like if we got to ask the same question, like, why are you making this game the way you're making it? Why is it an extraction shooter? What is it about? Like, I have doubts whether this is even going to be connected to Marathon at all.
It's probably just using the name.
I want to say, if anything, I'm going to view this game the same way the new Prey game is, where it's not connected to the original in the slightest, or if there is connections, it's superficial or tenuous at best.
I will look at this as, hey, you've been dropped into Disneyland. It has all your favorite settings in it. You're just trying to get supplies and get out.
It's just gonna be here's the Marathon setting. Wow, cool background elements. Go get the thing. All right, you got the thing. Now do it again.
Yeah, this is probably just like I said with Prey, where it's just they needed a name and a setting to make their idea, like make people get hyped for their new idea, their new game.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll just be a skin suit.
Dead, at least has some brand recognition.
They also probably used this because that Bungie a while ago did in Destiny a Marathon throwback anniversary event, and I'm pretty sure that was really popular. And they're like, "Oh, well, we can use this then."
I think they're using Marathon because Marathon's name hasn't been tainted yet.
Like Destiny's has. Destiny is irrecoverable.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, apart from that, Marathon is targeting a premium launch price for $40, indicating that Bungie is steering away from the free-to-play model, probably for the best. There has also been speculation that pre-orders could go live in the next couple of weeks. Are they that close to development? Like, I doubt it. Potentially bringing Destiny 2
This was
closer to
announced
Overwatch.
a long while ago, mind you.
This is a new article, as far as I'm aware, isn't it?
No, the marathon game that they've
I
been
know.
working on has been announced years ago.
So the reason why I highlight this price here is because this coincides with something that I find rather interesting in my little noggin. Helldivers 2 is also priced at the exact same price point as $40. Right here. $40. It's only $40 to get Helldivers 2. Are they trying to mimic it?
Yes.
Because I think that this game is going to try, I think whatever it is, it's going to try to be like Helldivers, maybe. We have yet to see. It might be too far in development for them to have switched it, but I feel like Helldivers is going to have an influence on this game. Mostly because Helldivers has been a shockwave in the industry.
Yes.
It has redefined extraction shooters, which, let's be real, extraction shooters before Helldivers, I like Deep Rock Galactic, but the entire genre not only was niche, but it was stagnant. Nobody had any idea where to take the genre. And Helldivers' approach to sandbox and giving the players creative freedom in that sandbox was a blessing. And so, will Marathon also take this knowledge and success that Helldivers 2 had and apply that to its own design philosophy?
I don't think it can.
I don't know if they can, if they're too far in development, but considering what Destiny 2 is, when I look at Destiny 2 in one hand, I see Destiny 2 where, you know, the zones you get into where there's like open hubs, you can run into other groups of people and there's like monsters and stuff and you fight them.
Mm-hmm.
I see that being the closest thing the game has in terms of it's the most similar thing. Whereas like it's open, you can explore it, you can run around it. There's lots of cool things to look at visually. I will say visually, artistically, the art teams behind Destiny are really good. Like the environmental designs always looked really cool. I just think that the story was always really weak. Yes. Whereas Halo was it was something else. Like even if you look at Bungie's narrative history, right? We look at Halo as the most recent thing that Bungie has done well, right? That was their prime, was what we view that as. But if we look back, we look and we can find Marathon. Marathon is interesting. It's got some fresh ideas in it. It's definitely weird. And then you see things like Myth, and it's also fresh when it comes to fantasy. You've never seen anything like Myth since it was first made. Bungie has sort of lost that magic of, wow, this feels unique. Like, even Destiny visually was unique, but, like, beyond its visual uniqueness, it had nothing else. Bungie has lost their staple, we're unique, look at us effect. They don't have any of that anymore. They sort of just make the same garbage that everyone else makes, because that's what Destiny 2 really is. It's just kind of like Borderlands-y garbage with like looter shooter crash. It's just not very good. My question is, what have they done leadership wise and personnel wise to necessitate a positive change internally? Because I don't think they can. I don't think they've had a restructuring as far as I'm aware. And I assume the silence is because nobody else thinks that either, right?
Yeah, I don't think Bungie's done anything.
The issue is, I don't think
do anything. So
yeah, I don't think there's a will, a want, or even a vision capable in Bungie to make it like Helldivers successfully.
If anything, if they try to copy Helldivers, it'll be done shallow, and that will spell the doom of the game immediately.
Yeah, and so I don't have any hopes for it. I just want Bungie to go the way of the dinos.
You can finally die out.
Yeah, I was half sure it wasn't even going to come out to begin with.
I knew it was going to come out because
they have Activision's money, don't they?
They have Sony's
money. Yeah, that's right. The Activision threw them to the winds because they don't like. Even Activision threw them away.
Sony doesn't have an option. They need
a win,
a successful shooter, because Sony dumped money into Concord.
They dumped a lot of money into Concord. They were banking on that being their next big flagship title that was going to go on for a decade.
What's funny? Concord killed a great game that we never got. All right?
The crossover.
We could have gotten a prototype Infamous crossover game, and it probably would have been the most amazing thing we'd ever gotten for sandbox action games. Because sandbox action games desperately need love right now, right? They don't really get love anymore. Where's the Mercenaries? Where's the Just Causes of this year? Nothing. We got nothing, right? And so we got that piece of shit hero shooter that died a week after its launch, right? Now, I also want to point out that Sony barely gave any resources to the Arrowhead Studios for Helldivers, and
Yeah, they weren't expecting anything from them.
not only were they not
actively
expecting them,
sabotaged them.
they actively sabotaged them post-launch.
Yep.
So I know what happened with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, what happened is that they did have the idea of making it a PlayStation Network exclusive thing that you had to do, but when they backed off, realizing it was impractical, they probably didn't have the idea of like restoring that ever. They just said they might, but the rapid and like a substantial success of Helldivers, they looked at that money that they were opportunity that they were quote unquote losing. And we're like, no, we need to force this now.
We need something now.
Yeah, because of the amount of money they were dumping into Concord.
I mean, the big thing is I think Helldivers saved Sony, honestly, when it came to how bad it could have been, because Helldivers 2 has been a tremendous success and is looking to be like a steady success going forward. Though it's got blemishes. Like, one of the blemishes I want to point out real quickly, despite the fact that they've turned things around, and so much so that recent reviews are 90%, they're still at 76%. Like, they've got a long road to recovery to turn that around. Because that blemish, that 24% negative, people are too stupid to change their reviews. They just won't. Or some people
just not
so, for
back to
example,
it.
37 people on my friends list recommend against this game. I guarantee you, not only of those 37, I guarantee you like over 80% of them probably, because of that blemish, will never try this game again. And it's not their fault for that, by the way. It's just they will never try this game again. They will never fix their review. They're not going to have patience, because people don't have patience. Very few people have patience and the willingness to look at something with an open mind or try to understand something. And it's not their fault for doing that. It's just how people are innately in human nature. And so this blemish, that 76%, is going to remain like a slow grind upwards, right? And that's because of Sony. The recovery path is one of those things where they need this game to recover because they need to have a boasting talking point. Sony needs to be able to point towards this game and be like, look, we do have a really good shooter game, an action game. It's called Helldivers 2. Look at how good it's 90. It should be this, right? This is the more accurate number of what the review should actually be at. Because the recent reviews are actually an actual honest indicator of where the game really is. 90% positive. That's where the game probably should be standing rather than 70. And make no mistake, when somebody says something bad about a game, they'll say it to their friends. I will. If I think a game isn't worth it, I'm not going to lie to chat bros and say, like, you should buy this game. I never have. Even when it came to sponsored games. Like, I remember the 2 games I sponsored, I told them, like, I'm going to be honest. And, you know, that got me in hot water. And in some cases, they don't talk to me anymore. Like, I'm going to tell people what I think. And I always have been that way. And when I say, like, hey, this game isn't good, I'm telling that to not only chat bros, but I'm telling it to my friends, because we're not going to play it. It sucks. Mm-hmm. We're going to go play something else.
So, to be clear, Sony has Horizon Zero Dawn, Helldivers, Stellar Blade, and Spider-Man. Because I don't think God of War is really going to put out the numbers it once did.
I think God of War has lost
Ghost of
itself
Tsushima as well.
Ghost of Tsushima will not recover after its new drama, I don't think.
Yeah, seems like the new one's is going to be a shit show.
They've gone anti-Japanese with it, which is funny.
And fairly woke from what I've been seeing on
Last of Us is big mainstream. Like, it's going to have a lot of normie buyers, even for the second one, because some people normies just like that shit. I don't know why. But yeah, God of War never really recovered from 2018. And honestly, because they doubled down 2018's disaster, because let's be real, God of War 2018 is a bad game. There's nothing that says it's not. It's just mediocre slop. It's not a God of War game. Kratos is kind of a little bitch.
Wait.
It's a bad game. Okay, so you're familiar with what God of... Remember we just talked about franchises and franchises staying loyal and true to their fandom?
I might have been away at that time.
You weren't. You asked that question.
I'll explain. So think of My Little Pony, like a video game about My Little Pony, and then they make it into Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
So is that anywhere close to the original intent of the franchise?
Oh, so they're doing the same thing?
So they're diverting away from the original intent and vision of the franchise is what they were doing.
Instead of it being kind of like an action fighter game, it's now more of a run around like RPG style game.
With lots of pointless, frivolous side quests and other things that like. So
And
to explain,
long periods of talking.
God of War 1, God of War 2, God of War 3, the 2 God of War PSP games, and the God of War Ascension game, 6 God of War games, right? All 6 of them were about, basically, you play as Kratos, you go around, you go through Greek mythology, and you kill various Greek gods, because the Greek gods are full of themselves and corrupt and evil, and they've wronged you in some way, right? And
it's not even doing it for altruistic reason. It's literally, you fucked with me, so I'm going to kill you.
Yep, they ruined his life. They lied to him, they manipulated him, they tortured him, they killed him, they treated him poorly. And so it's about Kratos getting revenge, right? God of War 2018 takes that concept of, and the story ended. God of War story was over. Like, I think he kills himself at the end.
Holy shit. Okay.
Well, Kratos was trying to do that from the first game.
Yeah, because he wants to be with his daughter and his wife. Because he killed his daughter and wife because a god tricked him into doing it.
Ares.
What?
Yep. And the reason why he's white is the ashes of his wife and daughter burned onto, or basically molded onto his skin. So wherever he goes, their ashes go with him. And so the reason why he's angry and he's about this is because he wants revenge. And in the end, he's consumed by his own revenge because he dies. And it's a good sort of classic Greek story, tragedy, you know? Because that's Greek tragedy in a nutshell.
Yeah, he's not a hero.
In the sequel, they kind of misunderstand, they misunderstand entirely the point of what God of War was about, but then they even have, like, Kratos being apologetic about his past. And it's like, no, that really isn't what Kratos is about. And him moving on or like accepting loss and having a son or whatever is like, it's not really what the story was about either. It's, let's keep making God of War games because they made money. Let's not let the story end because the story should end. All good stories must come to an end at some point, or they'll just be dragged on forever.
Did they at least execute it in like a decent way? Because I personally haven't played it myself, but then my dad was really fond of it.
What, 2018? No.
Yeah.
It's a betrayal of the overall gameplay. Like, as a game, is the gameplay's loop bad at its core? No. But is it a God of War game? No. Without a doubt, resoundingly no.
I see where.
And so what you have is a supplanting of the fandom, right? This is what's going to create what we call a schism. You'll have people who really liked the old God of Wars look at the new one with disdain, and people who will play the new one. And it's no fault of the people that played the new one either, by the way. It's important that we don't fight each other because it's retarded to do that. People that play the new one that really like the new one for what the new one's about. But the thing is, this isn't this game here. This what we're looking at. This isn't Kratos. This isn't God of War. He's not Kratos. Like, that's not him. It's a different character wearing his skin. A skin suit.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the problem. Didn't the writer for the new God of War write the story before he even knew the game was gonna make? Yeah. Well, there's also that writer who basically said that he tried to make Kratos gay, and he wanted to make Kratos gay to piss off the fans. Because Kratos isn't gay, by the way.
Didn't the studio step in at that point and just flat out told him no or you're fired?
I don't know if the studio stepped in or did anything. They probably didn't punish him, but they didn't let him do it.
So the big thing is that they, for God of War series, what they wanted to do was do a father and son for 2018. And then they actually wanted to move onto the son going forward as the new God of War. They wanted to dump Kratos and move on.
Yep, because otherwise the franchise, where do you take God of
issue is
War
no
after
one
this?
liked the Son.
Tiberius says he killed himself because he vowed to kill all gods. In Greek mythology, a vow cannot be broken.
Yep.
Oh, because he's like a demigod, right?
Yep,
Or something?
he's the son of
He's
Zeus.
able to fight.
Over the course of the 3
What?
games, he is a god.
Yep.
That's such a killer concept, though. Oh, Kratos versus Jesus win.
Oh, don't even bring up the memes where it's like it's
Yeah,
Jesus
she's
forgive.
referencing the meme. Yeah,
Because I've seen the meme and it's like, it's okay, I forgive you, my son, and Kratos is crying because Jesus actually beat him. He forgave him. He forgave him.
Also, Kibbs, Chad
Oh my
was
God.
saying how your mouth isn't moving.
Oh, it's because I'm not
Model.
looking up. I have to like adjust my desk. Okay, little chatfish is.
Also, I believe there's a stream.
I'll bring my
element.
monitor lower.
Did someone say something about it?
I got a DM about it. Yes.
Is it Semper Tantrum?
No.
Usually him.
He does
I will
stream
say,
labs.
The one thing about God of War that I'm kind of sad they didn't end up wanting to use the idea, because at the end of 3 there was an idea floated around in the fandom that the way they could make it, it's basically the God of War of, well, Kratos, of Egypt, and then there was going to be a third nation, or pantheon, and all the gods of war would basically get together and agree that, yeah, the gods are assholes, we're just going to kill them all, and then those 3 gods become the wise men.
Maybe I shouldn't have tried to fix
I
that.
recall that. Yeah, that was
It
an
didn't end up
interesting
going
theory.
anywhere, but it was an interesting idea that was thrown out there way back when.
Yeah, nice concept idea.
Oh shit.
Gibbs broke everything.
Chat having me do that unironically did, yes.
Kratos versus Henry. Well, Henry would win, obviously. He's hungry.
Do you think you could fight me? I'm Henry.
I'm Henry.
Henry versus the Tau. No, sorry. God of War versus Tau coordinate guy.
Oh, cringe.
Henry is the champion of gluttony, so does that make him a god?
You fucked up typing that true classic GA.
I
Now
swear
we're gonna
he
judge you.
complains about food like every 5 minutes. He's like 80% like hunger, right? So he's like really good, and he's like, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
All right, so I think when it comes to this game, oh god, I hate Last of Us so much. So the reason why
Free
God of
element,
War
Gibbs.
was the way it was is I think they saw Last of Us and were like, "What? Let's do that as well." And then they're like, "Let's make a Last of Us but God of War." Son becomes
Maybe.
The big meme about Last of Us specifically was that a lot of games that were trying to imitate it were just called Harry Dad games, because you're playing the Harry Dad, and you have a kid with you. And considering that Kratos gets a beard, yeah, he is just a Harry Dad now.
Mythical Fool donates $50 and says, "Put me on the thumbnail. Put me on the thumbnail." Hashtag cookie. I assume the Ghosts event.
Yes, it would be what I would guess.
But yeah, God of War Ragnarok. Like it, all of them, like they just don't really have a sense of what they are, and I think because they went with the whole, like, what's the word? We have to talk about it because they did do it. They did DEI the God of War series because they started being like, let's take a Scandinavian mythos and add black people to it, and it's like, well, there weren't though. It's Scandinavian gods. Like, go make a game about other people's gods if you want to do that.
They also made her the mother of monsters, by the way.
What do they mean by this?
What
do they mean by that? What do they mean? They always do it in the most questionable ways, don't they?
And activate his fish animation.
Yep, I will. But when we talk about games that lose track of what they are, I think God of War definitely did as well. It doesn't have a sense of what it is. It has no more idea.
God of War grew up.
Oh my god. Okay, so you want to know why there's a schism, Bon, right? She's dead. She doesn't want to know.
I'm still here.
So
yeah, I can almost still hear.
Imagine saying this to the old fans when they made the new God of War as Cope. God of War grew up. How do you think that's gonna fit with, like, when you use that as the argument to talk to the old fans. And that's the official
They
like
just did
statement.
that with something I grew up with, so
It's like-
that would make me a little mad.
Yeah, it's rude, isn't it? It's like, wow,
Ne-
after all
never
this
mind.
years of support and appreciating your franchise, and you just spit on me? Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
Never mind how depressing the franchise actually is, and when it comes to the story.
The series is horrible. There is a scene in one of the old God of Wars where Kratos gets to Elysium, which is Greek heaven, right? He sees his daughter for the first time. And for the first time in forever, he's happy. In the entire game series. Like, he's genuinely happy. And then he finds out that in order to save Elysium, he has to leave his daughter forever. And there's literally a mini game where you have to press a button.
It's like
fast.
press X to walk away, effectively.
You have to press circle, I think. You have to press circle as fast as you can. And the reason why you do is not because it's just like a mechanic, but it's your daughter like fighting you, trying not to let you go.
Oh my god, that would kill me inside. Ugh.
Let's see, where is it? Oh god,
you're gonna find the like video of it.
The hardest, I think it's called the hardest quick time event ever made.
It's hard because it's... Yeah, so here it is. And I'll just mute it. So me, after finding out my daughter uses... No, just ignore that, god damn it. But that's just a meme. That ruins everything!
The top part is a
No!
meme, yes, but the actual cutscene is a thing.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Oh my gosh, but because
I
a
can't do
cutscene
that.
like that implies that like, so you said that Kratos killed his wife and his daughter, but that implies
Yes.
that the daughter forgave him and didn't blame him. And I'm like, oh, you know,
Because I don't
jump
remember.
off a bridge.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
so
what
like
Ares did.
here's the scene, by the way, where you're with your daughter and you have to push her away. And she says, "No, don't leave me."
Ares drove him to madness and then actually forced him to do so.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why Kratos and Ares have massive beef.
But yeah, this scene here was actually hits pretty hard because that's what he's been wanting all his whole time, like his wife and daughter, and he loves his daughter, but he cannot stay with her, you know? Because if he does, like Elysium, I forget what's happening, but like something bad's gonna happen to Elysium.
I think one of the gods is really upset with the other gods and wants to destroy the afterlife. I think that's the plot.
And so he has to go stop that from happening, which means he's denied being with his daughter again.
And after which, there's no way to get to the afterlife.
Yep, because it'll close it forever. And so
This
he
time
will
I'm really gonna do
never
it.
be
This time
with her.
I'm really gonna do it.
What?
Cry.
So yeah. So in order to save his daughter and his wife that he has been trying to seek vengeance for and in some part atonement by killing the gods, he has to harden his heart and walk away.
Yep, because if he truly loves his daughter, he has to try to save her in what way he can, even though he killed her.
So being in literal paradise and having to have the strength to not run away, but to walk away is fucking crazy.
That scene, I think, is probably one of the best scenes, and that's why when they said God of War grew up, like, it's just like, what is this then?
Like, no, I never give articles like that any serious consideration because like you don't actually care about video games if
Like-
you do, like if you're making titles like that.
Like, then it just means that they have no understanding of what God of War was about. Yes, God of War is actiony and bloody and gory and has sex in it and whatnot because of Greek mythos and there's like naked girls and stuff in it, right? Whatever. But like the actual themes of the story are actually really good. Yeah, it's got these things in it. Yeah, it's violent. Yeah, it's gory. But the story of it's actually pretty sad.
Never mind. Oh yeah. Want to bring up what the final boss of the first game's like?
What do you
Where
mean?
he has to go out of his way to save his wife and daughter from versions of himself that are attacking them.
Oh yeah, stop himself from killing his wife and daughter to try to protect him. But that's because that's because one of the gods or whatever is like tormenting him with visions of him killing his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
I gotta play this game now.
Well, the original series can be emulated, but you're gonna have to get yourself either a PlayStation or something to actually play it anyway. Because Sony has yet to port these ones. They refuse to port the OG ones, but they will only port the new ones. So nobody can really see
PlayStation 3.
the old ones. Yep, if you get a PlayStation 3 and you get the God of War collection disc, that will have them all. The PSP one, which this is in, you will need
Chains
to
of
emulate.
Olympus.
Yep, I think it's Chains of Olympus. Because Kratos has to also deal with his brother and whatnot. Or, well, has to reconcile with his brother. Deimos!
And then his brother dies, by the way. Don't worry.
You just spoil him?
Honestly, both his immediate and extended family usually meet like very bad fates.
Wow, spoilers? You tell me his life is miserable? Wow.
Yes.
You telling me Kratos is sad?
No, I'm saying he's mad.
You telling me there's a reason why Kratos does horrible things to these gods? And there's a reason...
not just the gods. Remember when you have to use a random person in, I forget what section, to hold up like
3. He uses a princess of Poseidon. That's the only part
priestess.
in the story. It's a princess, if I remember right. But
Oh, priestess.
no, it's a princess.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter what she's
Either
called.
way, semantics. The big thing is he uses her body to hold up a thing, and that gets her killed. Now, you could argue that she was innocent, and she probably was, considering she was chained up. She's probably a sex slave, if I had to guess, for Poseidon, because Poseidon was fucked up. I mean, all the gods were corrupted and kind of evil and twisted.
Kronos had a point.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they were all corrupted because Kratos opened up the Pandora's box.
That was
No, they were kind of always like
okay.
that.
So
I thought that
hold up,
only affected humanity.
hold up, because I actually know this. So that was yes, that was revealed in God of War 3. Though some people feel like it was kind of like a
retcon,
sort of a retcon, but
a cop out.
A cop out would be the actual thing. It's like Pandora's box is what corrupted the gods, and the gods weren't actually evil, all evil. But the thing is, I don't necessarily believe that too much, because, like, well...
I think that's bullshit. I think that was more Pandora's box affects humanity, and the gods, they just were always like that.
Because the gods were always kind of portrayed as a bit aloof. Now, in the first God of War, the gods were actually portrayed as very helpful to Kratos, because he was trying to usurp Ares. And then Zeus was mad at his son, Kratos, because after he'd usurped Ares, his brother, and killed Ares, his son wasn't falling in line. He was going around causing war and destruction because his son was still in anguish about the death of his daughter and wife. And the gods promised Kratos that they would make the pain stop. And they didn't. They wouldn't even let him kill himself.
Yeah, they made him immortal, and all he wanted to do was die.
Which pissed him off even more. Because they wanted to use him as a tool. Here's a cop out because the opening of Pandora's box is supposed to be like the apple was to Adam and Eve. Yeah. Listen, Mythical, I am looking for it on the side. She's like, what do you mean? Fucking, you know how hard it is to find a chatfish when there's like a million of you?
He just has to go onto the M's. You know how hard that is?
They're not alphabetized.
Oh, damn.
OBS
You should probably alphabetize them.
You should probably do it, yeah. You as in you.
Sure. Just give me access to that folder.
Chill. Actually, yeah, go ahead and ask Palaford and go ahead.
Egaloo.
Why does Sternrat have... why does Semper have like 2 chatfish in animated already?
Because he has...
Chatfish can buy multiple if they want. Like, they can technically buy all of them active if they really wanted to. Like, have a bajillion of them.
I remember that day on screen when you had like fucking 40 chatfish.
That was the most chatfish I'd ever seen. They used to fill up the bar and like everywhere.
Yeah, it was covering up the fucking portraits.
Good times. Chat, let's go back to those times. Look at the little wallets that look back up.
And then contribute them all to Timekeepers and Skirt Fund.
No.
No, so just fund Skirt Fund.
Why have you done this to me?
Gibbs, let you know there's 2 months left.
2 months left of what?
Till May.
What's that supposed to mean to me?
What happens in May?
That's not Fire Warrior, is it?
Okay.
It is Fire Warrior.
Chatfish.
You stipulated that we cannot start the funds until May.
Wise Kib in the past.
Didn't Kib also stipulate that it has to be within a week that it gets funded?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Wise Kib remembers that too. Me, go wise.
No, he didn't remember that, but yes. Yeah, that's
He
true.
Snork. He snorked. Everyone pointed out and laughed at him. Changing subject. Changing. I cannot find Mythical's Chatfish.
Then you need another Tally War like that week, Kibbs. Says Hennestad.
In a steedy morning.
Where is Skirt Fund at right now?
Over
At
halfway
the bottom.
there.
Holy shit.
Trap Rose will be destroyed. All right. Like Chabbo. Now Titanfall 2 is probably, or Titanfall 3 is probably dead, by the way.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I hope it is because I have no trust in Respawn to make the game.
So this article, which I also got from the same website, because I saw this this morning, and thankfully this website is actually the same place I had open this morning because I closed it, but now that I have it, I have all the things. And the reason why we're going to point to it is because this is probably for the best. I know many people are like, oh no, Titanfall 3 is dead, but like, I'll be real with you, chat. Respawn Entertainment is kind of lost any sense of what it is. So it's probably the best that it died. And specifically, we don't 100% know that, but basically Respawn just announced that they just recently canceled a multiplayer project for a title that they were working on that they had yet to announce. So the name of that title did not leak, but people are genuinely theorizing that it was probably Titanfall. There's good evidence to suggest that it was probably Titanfall. What else would they be working on? Remember that Respawn Entertainment is under EA, and the reason why EA probably would make sure Titanfall 3 dies is because A, they helped sabotage it to begin with, but B, it's probably to do with the fact that Battlefield Labs they'll be having two studios compete with each other, and so they're going to want this studio, Respawn Entertainment, to make games for a different part of the market. Remember, chat, close your eyes when you think about what EA is thinking, right? They are thinking about, I have a game that's tackling like a pie, and there's a big circle, right? And each section of this pie is a different genre. The first-person shooter genre is a certain section of that pie. The sports games are a certain section of that pie. And the other thing, like the mobile games, are the other part of that pie. And the Sims games are that part of that pie. They don't want more things overlapping and competing with each other because that might hurt that one thing they're pushing in that section of that pie. They think that that might fight themselves. That's sort of why when they put Titanfall 2 out, they put it smack dab between the new Battlefield game of the time, which I don't remember, was Battlefield 4 or 1, and then they put it in between Call of Duty. So it came out right in between two very big series for a niche first-person shooter game, which effectively guaranteed that they could A, kill the game, B, take over Respawn Entertainment because they've shown that they're incompetent and that they couldn't produce, a quality product that made its revenue back. And so they have all the justification they need to seize control. And what did they do? They seized control. Too many things line up here, chat. It's a video game conspiracy. But EA basically used this as leverage to gain control of Respawn. And then what did Respawn do following this? They never made another Titanfall game. What did they make? They made a hero shooter that did very well. They made some Star Wars action adventure games that I don't like, but they did well. I think they did well.
Did they do well?
I feel like I'm the outlier here, that I don't like them. I feel like other chat...
Oh, I despise them, but that's because I'm me. But
Master Huntsman, Kratos also did not kill Aphrodite. He just had sex with her.
That's true. Well, Aphrodite also didn't do anything wrong to him.
Yeah.
He's also related to her.
says Kibbs still can't find the big booba animated Chatfish.
I thought I see it right there, or is there a different version of?
He's talking about a different one.
Chatfish are so whiny. Whiny little Chatfish. What do you think about the Gears collection rumors? I think the Gears collection is finally coming.
No, they're not. There's what recent rumors that Jens was referring to. It's the collection. It sounds like has effectively been confirmed again. Like, yes, it's coming. But now the rumor is it's not going to have any multiplayer whatsoever.
That's not true. I can almost guarantee you. That would be nonsensical. They have the resources to make it happen.
Stuff.
That's just purely, that might even be a fabricated controversy from the studio itself, specifically to get people talking about it. To build up tension. No, they do this all the time.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
9 times
saying
out of
maybe.
10, this is all fabricated bullshit that these studios themselves leak out, and then people, because they're stupid, will go around fucking screaming at the top of their lungs, doing exactly what they
Corporate
want.
leaking, Kibbs? Who would do that?
These corporations?
Who would intentionally leak shit on the internet?
Exactly.
Who would intentionally leak the entire
For
Assassin's
drama.
Creed
Because they've
Shadows game?
already milked the excitement leak. No more like leak on that's going to particularly help. Now the next thing to do is do a controversy leak, which will build it and bring it back to the forefront of conversation again, and thus increase desire and want to get the game, and so that there's a higher tension when the game is announced that you're going to smack that add to cart button and fucking slap those dollars down immediately. Because they want you to put pre-orders down because they want those guaranteed sales now. They don't want you to hold off and wait for sales, chat. They want months. And a Gears game without multiplayer, are you insane? Mexico would go into a civil
That was
war.
like one of the biggest
Mexico
things for the fucking Gears franchise is people playing with their friends.
Not only that, but the entire game from the first Gears, the second Gears, third Gears, Judgment, and all the Gears going preceding those, even the ones I don't like, without ignoring the spin-offs, obviously, are built on the concept of cooperative campaigns and multiplayer replayability. Oh my god, the Gears franchise. I salivate at
Actually,
the thought of it.
You remind me, Kibbs. Chat, we need to make Kibbs play Gears Tactics.
That one was okay, if I remember right, but I
From
remember
what I
that
saw, they did have like simultaneous enemy turns.
it works well
which
for
was nice.
horde shooting in a turn-based tactics game.
But beyond that, I don't remember much about it.
I remember this main story guy had like this goofy haircut on the side that made me think that he was kind of like a pedo or something. It's the kind you see on Twitter where like there'll be some old guy with a beard and like a little mustache and it'll be like, you know, peppered, and then he'll have like his side of his hair like a certain color and wear glasses, and he's like the stereotypical like creepy.
You mean a Redditor?
Yeah, it's like the stereotypical old guy past his prime, and he's here to tell me what I should like and what I don't like. He's a Puritan. And he's trying to be hip. That's why he's got this funky little hairdo, these goofy glasses. I call them pedos because that's what they look like. That's what they look
Also,
like.
Artemis Jenner had a suggestion for once Skirt Fund is finished.
And that is according. Okay, well that wasn't.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that after all this rather than bring it up now.
Huh?
Okay, well, how about after?
What are we mentioning?
Yeah, nothing. Let's move on. Keep going on, Kibbs.
Kill Chatfish. Like, scream. Titanfall Apex Legends developer Respawn Entertainment has reportedly canceled. Yeah, I already read that. Oh, my brain relapsed. I reset myself where I was. But yeah, I think Titanfall 3 is not going to happen. And I think that the thing that probably died was probably Titanfall 3 in the oven. Probably because it was, and it probably didn't even get very far. It's probably just an idea board room thing, and it died in the idea room. Probably because EA management looked at this and was like, "No, we're gonna be making Battlefield. Don't make that. We don't want competition internally."
Someone in EA just hated Titanfall from the get-go.
Yeah, there's definitely some sussy things about that.
Like what they sabotaged it way too often and too intentionally.
It sounded like to me that basically different parts of the company were fighting for funding for their projects.
Yep,
They
this
kept
is
giving
like the
that
Disney
relationship
animation
backbone.
studio being betrayed by the CG teams, basically. The good part of Disney being murdered. But yes, that's normally how it goes. That's the big problem with these big publishers and big companies is they may be like, as a developer, right? You can see the benefit of that EA offers. Its resources, its Motive Studios like resources, its Sound Studio resources, the Frostbite engine. But the downside is that all these resources come at a terrible cost, and that comes at the cost of your autonomy. And that, honestly, in my opinion, is too much to ever justify wanting a AAA publisher under any circumstances. Because autonomy is everything. It's what determines a good game and a great game. The ability to control what you can produce and what you're making, rather than being mandated and told and meddled. Like, it's like working on something, right? Like, you're in the kitchen, you're making like a pie, and some fucker comes in and starts putting chicken in your pie when it's a raspberry pie. And then some other fucker comes in and starts putting gravy on it. Starts putting gravy. This pie is becoming an abomination.
And then the fan base is like, I wanted a donut.
I wanted a donut. You were still gonna miss with that raspberry pie, but you would have done a lot better.
They would have been happy. They would have. They was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
But I like it.
But it's still
like,
good. Yeah.
Like when you get chat to make a pizza for Kibbs.
Now they've got this thing that has gravy oozing out of it, and there's some sort of red coloring in it, and they're not sure if it's blood or if it's
And
raspberry.
there seems to be a long hole in the one of the center parts of it.
One of the studio guys is a bit of a perv, yeah. One of the studio...
Exactly.
You stay the hell away from my pie, says Tiberius.
Chat bros are sad. Now I want a pie, but I can't because I'm on a no-carb diet.
I know, let's just play Wizard Boy some more, that will help.
That game is
Wizard
torture.
Boy.
Because there's lots of very nicely textured cookies, and if you pick them up, it makes little crunchy sounds. Terrible.
And he goes, oh,
no.
Yeah, pretty much. Even snorks a little
You can
bit.
turn that off.
Why would
No.
I? That's beautiful. I love. That's what makes collectathon games good.
I still hate them.
I like collectathons. That's an
Right.
immersive sim collectathon. That's cool.
So that was Apex, or Titanfall, but Apex is what it's now.
Yeah,
What's
I'm
that?
going to say I see where I see the connective tissue. It's just we were talking about Titanfall.
I hate you, bugger.
It's not, it's not like they were gonna make like Battlefront 3 or anything.
It's true.
What
Now
if that was the canceled title?
that drama with that Skullgirls video game, chat bros. So, Autumn Games, the guys that make Skullgirls, the guys that censored Skullgirls, for those chat bros that like fighting games, I know fighting games aren't my cup of tea, but this issue very much annoys me. Mostly because this is a game that got ripped away from its original creator, and then not only did it get ripped away, but like there's all sorts of shit coming out about it. It's a
Apparently, I from what I've heard, it was ripped away from some of the original lead, but there's like one or two people that were there for the beginning.
They
and basically
sabotaged them.
They're
they
called
backstabbed the rest of the
traitors,
team.
is what they are. They're called
Yep.
It's the inverse of what happened to Disco Elysium, where the communists got kicked out, except in this case, the good guys got kicked out of their own studio. So it was sad because this was a grassroots sort of like indie styled like fighting game that was very much like, ooh, this is something new. It's not like the big like fighting games at the time, and it's got this really cute, like cool art style going on that's very unique.
It was neat on release for sure. I played it.
Yep.
It definitely felt relatively unique.
It's got a lot of these like cute girls, and there's like all these cute characters and stuff, and it's very nice looking. And then after this hijacking occurs, all of a sudden ideology stuff starts leaking in. And what starts happening to the artwork? The artwork actually starts to get censored. They start changing the characters' animations and designs, covering them up.
Gibbs, what if you bought a digital art book for a game, and
Oh,
then
that's
years
right.
later, the fucking game studio goes in and changes the content in the digital art book, causing an update?
Yeah, so you look at your art book and you look at the game, and like for some
So
reason, it's
unless
like,
you had
oh my
it
god.
downloaded in like a isolated hard drive or something like that, fuck you.
If ever I get the budget to make a movie, we'll make a movie about some guy looking at an art book for a game he super loves, and he's playing it, right? And then he looks at the art and he's like,
out
wait a
the
minute.
window, He looks back. He's like, wait a minute.
And you know that,
What
like,
happened here?
whenever you have that revelation music that's super intense, you know, and the strings heighten as he's like looking through the pages faster and faster and starting to
When I
sweat.
think of intense stuff, I think of that gif of that guy
Ratatouille.
reading that paper. Yeah, and he's just like getting closer and closer.
Except normally that's really cursed, but yeah. Ratatouille is a great movie. But, I believe character or two was worked on by Zone Tan. Yeah, Zone Tan's a pretty big creator. It's true.
I'm gonna be hopping off and then switching to viewer mode, so I'll see y'all later.
All right, enjoy your bucket
Goodbye,
experience.
Donald.
Have a good one.
We need to make a little sound effect when they disconnect where it's like kerplunk, you know, because they...
If she just dives into the bucket.
Yep, because there's a chatfish just plunking into the water. That'd be so funny.
Discord has like entry sound stuff. Sure, you can try to figure something out for someone leaving.
I was wondering if I could code it into the overlay, but that could also work too. All right, but yeah, so back to this thing. So this, all right. So this has got some legal stuff in it, so I'm going to read this because I'm no legal expert. So, developer Hidden Variable said it's no longer involved with the Skullgirls franchise after it's filed a lawsuit against the publisher Autumn Games. The suit alleges Autumn owes Hidden Variable $1.2 million in payments for its work on Skullgirls Mobile and the 2015 game Skullgirls 2's Second Encore. Hidden Variable claimed Autumn was supposed to begin paying in late 2024, but failed to settle these accounts as of January 21st, 2025. After that date, the studio gave Autumn all of the account login information required to continue providing community support for the game, so as not to cause damage to the game. A rather noble and honorable thing to do, by the way. And also good to, for legal reasons. From the December 2014 through approximately October 2024, Plaintiff and Autumn had a successful business relationship. The suit reads, Plaintiff fully performed its obligations under the 12th Amendment through January 21st, 2025. Despite Plaintiff's performance and its agreement to do so, Autumn failed and/or refused to fully compensate Plaintiff for the services Plaintiff performed in accordance with the 12th Amendment. In a public statement, Hidden Variable said it was incredibly proud of the 10-plus years we've invested in Skullgirls in all its forms. Most of all, we're grateful to have been able to celebrate and support the incomparable Skullgirls community. Thank you all for everything. You deserve nothing but the best. Autumn Games' Jason Donnell later published a statement saying the company was making changes. While it did not directly address Hidden Variable's suit, Autumn's statement underlined its commitment to stepping in to reinvest in Skullgirls. It's here to stay, and we are fully committed to building its future. The saga, that's more or less covers the basics. So yeah, basically, they don't want to pay them for all the work they did, which is fucking monstrous, by the way. Now, in this particular case, I'm bad with names. Hidden Variable, the developer, is owed the money, $1.2 million, from Autumn Games. I have to reestablish that because I got to repivot myself. So, when this whole thing happened, it was pretty big in the news, and everybody sort of forgot about it because it's been kind of ongoing for a while now. But it does seem like there's now the legislation is getting forward, the legal stuff's happening, and now they're going to actually do something about it. Now, I think this is a pretty clear-cut case here, chat bros. This is going to be one of those cases where they tried to slip and not pay them on what they owe. And whether that's because they don't have the money or whether they do, we'll find out. But I feel like at the end of the day, this suit is only going to further expose Autumn Games for all the bullshit they've been trying to do behind closed doors. How do chat bros feel? I don't know. I don't think anyone here knows anything about fighting games.
I saw a video on this
a few, but
I know Bucky doesn't know shit about this for sure.
I am good at fighting games. I played Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The reason why this matters, chat bros, is because when somebody loses something and they lose it wrongfully, right? That's never good. And that should always be called out. Basically, this needs to be, in my opinion, a lot bigger news. Mostly due to the fact that what they're doing is incredibly horrific. And I do hope that other people start looking at this with the proper attention it absolutely needs. Because anytime someone has their project ripped from them is a bad thing, right? Especially if they actually worked on said project. And I have to emphasize that because there are cases where this happens and it's not the case. For example, in the case of Disco Elysium, a similar instance this occurred where the studio took the game away from the alleged creators, but the alleged creators, through numerous other employees, have basically been found out to be deadbeats that didn't do any work, that sat around, and then took credit at the Game Awards for the game, and then tried to use it as a political grandstand.
And thanking Karl Marx.
Yes.
Unironically.
While not thanking the studio that actually worked on the game. Like with Star Wars and Yoda's, the Chatfish are a bit retarded. I see Chatfish don't particularly care about Skullgirls, but it's still an important issue nonetheless.
I played it on release, and I remember seeing the backlash as it was happening for the game, and there was a good bit of backlash. Like the community was extremely pissed, especially about the changes to the DLC and stuff that they paid for, that they were now just
retroactively
removed.
changing
I also
things.
remember them doing something with some of the voice acting. Like one of the characters was voiced by like a Russian guy, and they swapped him out or something.
Yeah, not like the community. No one, as far as I remember, liked it. Like there was massive backlash, but it became pretty apparent quickly that there wasn't anything the community could do. They did not care that the community hated it.
Yep.
Because they wanted to push their narrative, and that's all they wanted to do. Like it was never a secret that the people who were doing all these changes had nothing to do with the game and just took it over. Like it's been a known thing, like since the beginning, that it was taken away from the people who did it.
It's also really telling because not only did they change the art and stuff, but then they have the audacity and the gall to basically go on and say, like, we're committed to supporting and building the future of this franchise. When it's like, are you though? Because you've been retroactively changing things, and for the people that were actually producing and developing this game, you kind of shafted. So you really just have to ask yourself, is that actually marching forward? Because this version of Skullgirls you can acquire now is actually inferior to the original version in one aspect, because they've actually censored characters, right? Like, for example, I don't think this is still in the game anymore, or if this particular part, but you know there'd be panty shots. The game did that a lot, by the by.
It was kind of a meme.
Plague says they are cucks. After they censored it, the game fucking died laughing.
Yeah, I was about to read his comment.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, like the game doesn't even have a player base anymore. Like it's completely dead.
And
like,
it had
they
a player
killed
base too.
Their fan base. It had a loyal fan base. Like there was.
Like it wasn't
a lot of
large,
people
but
still
it was
played.
definitely
No,
there.
very dedicated. And the second this stuff came out, like I'm pretty sure it just completely died.
I think it started dying when they put a furry in it.
Did they actually? So are these actually unupdated, by the way? Because I've seen the updated versions.
No,
of this
they're
game.
all.
These
yeah,
PNGs
they're
are out of date because that's a panty shot right
Yeah.
there. Is this actually false? Oops, I just spilled something.
False advertisement?
Yeah,
It would
false
be
advertisement.
yes.
This is
Yeah,
because that's
you
not
could argue
in the game
on
anymore.
their end that it's misleading.
Yeah, because her
But
skirt
we
got.
haven't
I know
updated.
her skirt got elongated for the black-haired girl with the monster hair. I would not be surprised. Yeah, the art
funny
style
thing
of this
is,
game is
if
really
I'm
good.
remembering correctly, like, the person that backstabbed the team was like one of the artists or something like that too.
So is somebody out for money and power.
Some rat.
Let's see what Blake has to say. Blake wants to comment on the subject. I think Blake is a little bit more invested, and not just saying it because you're South American and you guys. There's a stereotype
South
about you.
Americans I'm saying it because
he's a South American.
I will say it's because it's South America. Yeah.
I think Boot would have liked this.
I was going to say,
conversation,
like, it's
yeah.
just a stereotype. Like, people from South America
Like
tend
fighting
to really
games.
like fighting games.
And Gears of War. It's true. All right, let's see.
That's mostly Mexico.
That was around the same time. They replaced the tutorial. His nose. They replaced the tutorial teacher with that gay furry. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Because you mentioned a furry, and I'm just like, what are you talking about, furry? So they just started stuffing in gay characters too, just to boot.
Yeah.
Just to boot. Boot.
The game also had a story mode, which I played like a mission of, which I'm gonna guess also was heavily censored and altered at this point.
Fighting game stories are basically bad. At least everyone I play, because it's like, we're fighting, and then it's like, well, you could have just solved this by talking. I was like, but we're fighting. I was like,
Like we did solve this now.
and then they fight, and then they talk it out afterwards, and then they're like friends afterwards, and it's like, oh my god.
I like
All I really
remember where they do talk it out first, and then they fight because they want to fucking fight each other.
That
Yeah,
is
it's
more
basically
honest. I appreciate when they go that. It's like, let's test our skills. Like, okay, yeah, you know what?
I liked the character
It's
who
good
could
to
rip
see
her
you
own head
again.
off and throw
Let's
it at
fight.
people.
Steam charts say current concurrent player count is reaching 158 players, says Fading Fast. 158 players for a multiplayer-centric game is probably death. It's
Yeah.
probably death. Now, granted, it's not as bad because this is a two-player game, meaning that matches will occur faster, but the player pool is bad. Like, I'll point out, Warno, has an active player count of like at its peak like of 800 people online playing multiplayer, and that's an obscure RTS.
Which, while not great, it's still, serviceable.
Yes, it's a substantially more active multiplayer community than this game, and that's even for another type of niche. Fighting games actually are pretty well established and have a great history in gaming. The Soul Calibur games up to 3 had good stories. I've never actually played Soul Calibur. I have the PS2 one, the one where you get Yoda, actually.
Oh, it's either Yoda or Darth Vader, depending on what console you're playing it on.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right, Darth Vader was PlayStation and Yoda was Xbox.
Then I have Darth Vader. I thought PlayStation... I don't remember.
It was something like that.
They're silly, says Vulcan. You don't really play a fighting game for realistic stories. That's true. You don't need to. The big thing about what makes a fighting game good is actually its gameplay. So what makes fighting games rather fascinating, while they're not super my cup of tea, they're incredibly advanced games. Like, insane. They even have special fighting game controllers. I've got actually one in my box actually back over there. And basically, what makes these games so unique is how they're actually, when you actually get down to mechanics and how much depth there is to them, they're actually as complicated as a high-end RTS, multiplayer-wise, competitive-wise. And it's more about reaction time, counters, and things like that. So
the skill ceiling for fighting games is very high.
Yeah, they're one of the most advanced type of video games on the market. And they still are, despite the fact that they're one of the oldest genres in the market. It's just really interesting to see games like this. And what's really interesting about Skullgirls as a game as a whole was that it was a new game that was launched, in the 2000s. And it was one of those games that really just developed its own. Because up until that point, there was like Tekken, Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat, and these were kind of like the dominated ones. And usually there'd be some weird ones, like that one Beast one Bucky made me play that came out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
But those were usually like one-shots, usually.
Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar, yep.
Oh, that's a cult favorite for people.
There's... oh, yeah. That one is actually not that bad. But there's... But when it comes to fighting games... the good ones are rare, actually, because if you're not one of the big ones, or Bloody Roar, like one of those exceptions, you'll be like the Jurassic Park one, which is really bad. I remember playing that one, and it sucks so bad. It's on the PlayStation 1, I think.
The pony fighting game.
There's also that goofy Terminator one that was also bad. Was it Terminator 1, I think? I can't remember. Maybe it was like a Terminator crossover. It was on the Xbox. It was fucking not good.
It might have been one of the not very good Mortal Kombats you're thinking of, considering I think they've actually done Terminator crossovers quite once or twice.
On the one too on the PS1, yeah.
The could be a different character I'm thinking
Fighting games and good fighting games are rare. That's why I'm going to highlight one more obscure one, just so that Chatfish know about it. The Revenge of the Sith movie game is actually a fighting game. And it's actually pretty fun. It's one of my favorites because it's like, I think it's the best Star Wars game I played with lightsaber battles in ever. Because it's like a good, base boss battle game. It feels solid. It's a shame it never got a PC port either, chat bros. Screams. Primal Rage on the Sega Genesis. There's also that one series on the Xbox One. I forget. Instinct or something, right? It's got actually really good music. I didn't play it, though. I haven't played too many fighting games, but I played a lot more than I thought I did, now talking about it. But yeah, Skullgirls is one of those games that I think, unfortunately, chat bros, it's probably too late to save the game. But on the bright side, there's at least some hope in this.
I was going to say, the issue with Skullgirls, as I see it, is the people in charge are the ones wanting to change it, so you can't really do anything about it.
Yep, Autumn Games. Now, whether or not, Hidden Variable gets their stuff, I don't know. But we'll have to wait and we'll have to see. That is, unfortunately, all we have for Skullgirls. It's a tale of sadness. A tale of losing things. A tale of tragic chat bros. Grumpy Rat? Oh my god, grab him. Seize his little body. He donates $20 and says, to start a new game fund. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Hashtag cookie, hashtag fit, hashtag EX33. Well, a new fund has been started, Grumpy. Good to see you, you little chap, bro, and welcome back to the bucket. The only fighting game I had was Guilty Gear. Oh yeah, I remember that one. That one went really cringe. In recent history, the community for that one is rabid. Let's see.
Who's it? Real bad guy, or I can't remember what the fuck his
Soul
name
bad
was.
guy.
Soul bad guy. Yeah.
Oh, for
It was a
Guilty Gear.
fucked up name. Yeah.
Guilty Gears.
The animations for that game is really fucking good. The new one, but the community is really gay. Yeah, right.
Well, they're kind of like super hyper wokey kind of typey, if I remember right.
Oh, the fandom, yes.
Yep, Guilty Gear fighting games. I know some people like the art style of these, but I actually am not the biggest fan of it.
I can see why some people really like the characters, but for me, it's just like, eh.
Mostly specifically, like, my eyes hurt with the bloom. Oh, that bloom is atrocious. I just don't think they're that... I think they're kind of overrated. But that's just me. I've never been a big fan of the Guilty Gear stuff. Maybe that's just me, chat bros. The Ultra Kill fandom? What are you talking about, Fading Fast? What's wrong with the Ultra Kill fandom?
They're also pretty gay, I guess.
Oh, yeah, they post. They're pretty special. That fandom.
Why? What the fuck? I just see one of the chat bros I know fucking creators added a butt plug support. Ultra Kill. Low tier god yourself.
How about
man.
that other negative review to the right?
No
Why
gay
does he know
femboy
that they
robot
added
sex
butt plug?
between B1 and B2.
As I said, the community is special for that game.
Why is Alfarius
I hope
talking about them adding butt plugs?
I hope Gabriel kills himself. What is this? Okay.
Gabriel's one of the antagonists in the game.
He's like one of the final bosses, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the I think first episode boss.
Okay, so it's got a very special fandom. I'll take your word for it. I checked the reviews, and the reviews were memey and retarded. And so I think we can safely deduce that it is got a retarded community. But, you know, it's from New Blood Interactive publisher. Which, hey, wait. These guys, see, these are the same publishers that did Dusk and stuff, yeah. Right? Yeah, Dusk, there it is. Gloomwood is a good one, but that's not related to the conversation. We'll have to talk about that later. I'm going to have to save that one for when it launches. Proper. That's going to be like a Thief spiritual successor for those who like Thief. Okay, playing Ultra Kill will be special. Oh my god, this being white hurts my fucking eyes. Jesus.
I think Kibbs would hate Ultra Kill.
Yeah,
it's an arena shooter, isn't
the
it?
gameplay is not the type of gameplay he typically enjoys.
Wow, I'm being fucking judged here, chat, and I haven't even touched the game.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm not even.
No,
judging.
hands. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe Kibbs does want to play with a butt
Here's
plug controller.
an example of what Ultra Kill's like. The developer, well, the fans found that you can bug the game out by punching your own bullets as a parry. So he added it as a feature. So one of the main ways you actually play the game is to punch your own bullets at enemies.
Because it does more damage.
So Kibbs, butt plug support is you reload your weapon by squeezing harder.
Just look at that face. He's
I don't
thinking
like
about
that.
Think about it.
I'm trying to find the fucking GIF. Someone posted it in the server like a week ago, but I don't care.
That's terrible.
Why did that actually go through your mind? Like you stop and we're like buffering for a second.
Look,
you need to remember, unlike most people, he like if you tell him something, he'll.
We need a toggle where I
just
can
like,
press a
I'm not gonna
button
think about it.
and it freezes the model and it shows the little like spinning icon, you know, of loading.
Yeah.
Like because that's what happened.
The chatfish just starts doing
I was
barrel
just thinking
rolls on
about
your
the
head.
programmer. Like I instead of thinking about Ultra Kill, I was thinking about Robin, and I was like how do we It was more like, okay, how would you
How do
do
we
that?
get our game to do that?
How? What would be appropriate to do stuff like that in games? And that was what was going through my brain. And then I was like, my conclusion at the end of that thought was that it's retarded. Because basically what that is it's basically taken a sexual thingy and turned it into a controller for a video game. Which is definitely something I had not ever thought about in my entire life, but definitely something I wish I had thought about.
Chatfish should take out an hourglass.
There's little chatfishes.
I like the idea of when you would pause the thing, the chatfish just starts doing barrel rolls on your head.
Just rolling.
Buffering.
The little thing that spins in a circle should be a chatfish swimming in a circle. Genius.
Yeah.
We can make that the loading thing for our website. Alright, so I think we pretty much touched all the subjects I wanted to talk about today. But there's one bonus topic to talk about as well. And it specifically relates to a recent releases, because there are two things we're going to talk about. Two final things. I didn't think we'd have time for it, but we actually do. The first thing we'll talk about is Monster Hunter Wild. This is going to be pretty quick. And it's going to be talking about bad launches. Yes, Monster Hunter Wilds launched terribly. It was not ready for launch, not optimized. It's a shitty launch, but it's a good game, so expect to see this to turn around. It's not a bad game in the slightest. It's actually a rather competently made game. It's definitely worth picking up. I think that many people who like Monster Hunter games, you'll like this one. That's kind of all I'm saying.
On sale.
There's not a whole lot to really say about it.
A lot of the negative reviews I actually read were specifically for the game is it's hard to run, but I enjoy it, but it's also chucking like a motherfucker.
It's also missing content.
Yeah.
That's the same for all of them. They do that with
You don't actually
Rise.
understand that. So Rise specifically, and this is the route they're following, is that they're releasing the game before the actual storyline for high rank is finished, which is really fucking dumb. I don't know why they did it with Rise or why they're continuing to do it with fucking World. Or not World, Wild.
So basically,
Wild.
the story is fucking DLC. Got it?
No,
it's not
patches.
It's updated.
So
they updated. They had it later to keep player count.
Stutter line, slow down. I'll take care of this. Your stutters are confusing them. So, just imagine that this has early access. There, I fixed it.
Pretty much, because like
I fixed
the
it.
cooking
I did it for you, stutter line. Don't get mad at me,
No,
Mom.
that's not what he was
People
saying.
hate to know that.
That's not what he was saying, though.
But yeah, next up, there's nothing more to say than the game is good. Like, it's a good game. Definitely check it out.
If it runs fine on your
This
computer
isn't a
instead of-
review. This is just part of the Bunchcast. We're talking about things that are new. This game, there's a little bit more to say about it because it's new, and it's specifically published by the David Szymanski guy, which is the same guy who made Dusk. Yes.
They're brothers. It's three brothers.
Yep, the brothers. The developers actually popped into the stream when we streamed this and said hi, and we also just chatted for a bit and then basically gave them some bugs that we found. But they're very receptive to critique, very receptive to criticism, very eager to listen. And the reason why I want to bring this game up briefly is because it is actually a immersive sim. There aren't a lot of immersive sim games. Deus Ex, Dishonored or System Shock or BioShock, these games, pre-2016, are rare. Not a lot of them get made. And so whenever one's made, because I like these games and the sandbox and it's so like open with how players can do stuff, it's worth talking about. Now, I know what you're thinking. This looks like an indie game with the quotations indie game around it, like as in it's one of those indie games, a pump and dump. I think the name and the thumbnail does it a disservice because, well, it looks goofy and like dumb and not related to anything. It's actually really good. Basically, imagine a 2000s game, like a Harry Potter game, but like you can do whatever you want and like kill people in it and like do crazy things and explore the school and break things and do things you really shouldn't be able to do and freely tackle things. It's surprisingly well made, and it's an absolute romp with 4 friends as well. It's also decent single player as well to explore and do stuff. It very much is a well-designed game. Is Kingdom Come an immersive sim? It is an RPG with immersive sim elements, yes. Remember, most of these games are hybrids. This game is a collectathon, immersive sim. And like, it's technically, it's a multitude of genres, right? But it is an immersive sim. It's actually really well made. And it's worth checking out. It's got a demo. And that's all I have to say on it. That's all I have to say. But yeah, does anyone else have any subjects they would like to bring up today?
Yes.
Go ahead.
In the chat, I posted something earlier.
Is it
around what is it? 155 your time.
a demo for the lost video game based on George Orwell's 1984?
Yep.
Oh,
I'll repost it so Kib can find it.
He's
easily.
already grabbed it.
All right.
Yep, I'm showing it. This is a 1984 game that was never got made.
Yep.
So did somebody leak the code or something and they found it?
It's just a fucking lost demo that got found again. Apparently.
Probably one of the, like, an idea that was thrown out. People made a demo for it and just didn't go anywhere.
Look at those lighting effects, Gibbs.
Well, they're textured lighting, probably. I guess. Nothing happens when you throw a switch. So it's a puzzle game?
Mm-hmm. Looks like it.
Bandages. V for victory.
Landmines, it looks like.
You find a wrench. So it was going to be like an action adventure thing. I see money on the bottom, a blue bar where my head is, and a red bar on the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
So those are different resources, presumably. Pools, whether I assume the red one's probably health. Alright, he climbed a ladder. There's a little penis-looking turret thing.
Looks like some type of resources.
It seems like it was very, very much in prototyping.
Well, I think the person playing this right now is just somebody who's found it.
And has no idea what the fuck is happening. He's like, where?
Yeah. So he probably doesn't have a really good idea of where they're supposed to go with that.
The note says to get into the zero gravity training area, get the party identity card from the commander's office. It highlights.
So now the switch should work, I think, on the wall or something.
Yeah, because it's connected via the wire. Which caused that to blow up, which opened a thing, presumably.
So I like this where you have, like, lost fucking... Oh, like a little junction box or something.
Push a button, a small signal above says Master Power Lift, which now will open the lift, which will allow him to go up.
But yeah, just like the idea of people finding shit that was never really intended to see the light of day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the amount of games that are quote-unquote lost is insane. And video game preservation, as a video game preservationist myself, I think that this is good, and that more stuff should be uncovered. It's good that they actually found this, because that means that they can archive and preserve this now. A game that could have been. I get some puzzle here.
Decent graphics for once, says Harlot.
As I see placeholder textures, and I'm just staring at chat.
Mm-hmm.
Little drone. Bandages. So it's definitely going to be a puzzle game, is what it was
So
going
the
to be.
drone is gonna flip a switch. Oh look, it has no fucking texture screen. Okay.
I think there's going to be like a face and a character on it, you know? Like it was remote controlled. You find a box of bandages. A screwdriver. This is a lost 1984 demo game. Or demo for a lost 1984 project that never got made.
That gives me the Xbox startup vibe for some reason on that green thing.
Ah, the old Xbox startup was amazing.
Yeah, because
Oh, Oh no.
Control.
Yeah, the OG like Xbox startup thing unironically went kind of hard.
You did.
Use your screwdriver. Use your screwdriver.
This kind of feels
Yeah,
more
fucking launched.
Flipped him off.
This kind of feels like a more advanced version of a point and click.
Yeah, like Mr. Escape from Monkey Island.
Like a hybrid of that concept, but in a 3D environment. So this is probably, based on the graphics, it looks kind of like Quake engine-y era, like early Quake, like Quake 2, Quake 1 maybe. Or no, Quake 2 probably. And so it's very much in that era where the point-and-click adventure-style games were a thing. And so this might have been a game trying to bridge the gap into the 3D environment space with that concept. Oh, they even have a 3D animated face looking back and forth.
It's Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred is power. You pick up a medicine bottle. Yes, the video games industry has been incredibly bad at preservation compared to other industries, and this is entirely due to the fact that video game companies...
Well, because they view it as a product.
They view it as a product, and so they just sort of throw it away when it's not useful anymore. There needs to be more protocols for protecting games and code. And they need to have art protection, is what needs to happen. Because under the art protection stuff, if video games were recognized as art, that would actually protect them from being lost. That would stop companies from absolutely shutting down servers without releasing the code or anything for MMOs. It would actually save games as a whole. This is why, and I know some people are like, video games should be art. Like, well, thing is, they are, technically. By the definition of what art means. They have art in them, so... they need some form of preservation. Also, you can definitely tell this was made in the CRTV because it has no widescreen support. I think the game is shitting itself.
Does seem that way.
Oh my god, those are rats. And they're coming to attack the player. This is definitely early. This is definitely... Sacrifice is nobility. Well, they don't do anything. I don't think. I didn't see his health bar move. Do you think you'll see an aliens come to Earth in your lifetime? Well, if I do, then it'll happen. And then at that point, nobody will care what I think because you guys will be busy caring about other stuff. Take yes, twoo. But no, I don't think so. The big thing we have to solve is basically how to go faster than light. And because currently that's impossible right now. We're kind of screwed.
Just dump everything into a black hole. Problem solved.
He's staring into the void.
Is that little white dot like God coming to kill him? Yes.
Sega was good with their preservation with Mega Drive collection, but they removed Mega Drive from sale. That's shit.
They did. Well, Sega did video game preservation for a price. The thing is, I'm okay with them charging for those games because technically, yeah, they own the license to that game, right? Fair enough. Charge a modest like $1 for like an old game, you know, from the PS2. But they're not gonna do that. That's a cute little thing. Are you a domestic terrorist? What the fuck? Oh, that's an article. I was like, what the fuck? Had to put a fine of a point on it. Why do we need games of a nightmarish dystopia when we can just stick our heads outside of the window instead? Oh, you big baby. It's not that bad. If I stick my head out the window, you know what I see? I see cars, and I see a Burger King off in the distance. Actually, I'm not
That's
entirely
why
sure.
Kibbs is so against McDonald's. He's a Burger King guy. That's right, I forgot. We know where his loyalty lies when the corporate wars truly kick off.
Ready to tear comments on those new things? Yeah, pretty much. When I look outside, I see a nice, bright, sunny day with some snow on the ground. The snow's melting, by the by. All right, chat bros. I think that wraps up the Bunchcast, unless anyone else has any subjects they would like to discuss or other things they would like to go on. And it can be about previous things if you have any other notes, my little chat bros. Like, Jabo! Look at them. They're chat broing it up. We also need to schedule today's community event, which is going to be Among Us. Just like, wow, Among Us.
I will be participating.
You will. And chat, you know the rules. You're not allowed to gang up on Beano, Bucky, or Kib. You have to be fair.
People just keep voting.
If people keep just randomly voting for one person at the beginning of the round, and then it's like, okay, now it can actually start. Like, none of that.
Now, to be fair, chat,
It would be funny as fuck.
To be fair,
Now,
chat
if it
didn't
happened
do
to
that.
work, whatever.
It would be funny, kids. You can't lie. If they just killed me off immediately.
It's like, I did nothing. No, it's even better.
We punish them, and it turns out he
we
was
have one
actually evil.
imposter, everyone just votes you out immediately. What did I do? Wins game. It's like, okay,
Okay,
just because it happened.
sucks so
That's just a
bad.
coincidence.
Exactly.
Oh, I finally
so
get
happened to
imposter.
be evil.
Immediately kicked out before you do anything.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and we're not gonna use the new Among Us version of the game at the moment. We just need to set up the stream, but there
It's not
is
even.
What's it called on Steam again?
It's Among Us 3D. It's not out yet. There's a demo for it, and it's.
I'm gonna show it to chat, and the reason I'm gonna show it to chat because it is gaming news technically because it is new.
It even has a little tutorial in it.
So we're gonna take a look at this Chatfish. So this is Among Us 3D. Now, I was never really into Among Us until I played it, and then I played it. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really good. Like, it's a fun community game.
I can certainly appreciate the idea of it being in 3D because one thing that I've noticed is that when you can see top down, people tend to kind of like act differently if they know someone's like creeping up behind them.
Yes, but that's
like what just happened right there. It's like you're obviously focused on the task. Like you're not going to be able to see right behind you.
Yeah, so the big thing is it being in a 3D environment is going to add a lot more because there's actually more sneaking. You don't have top-down visuals. I actually really like that.
And also it means you can't just magically see into rooms that your character can't see into.
Yep.
I think this is going to be really good.
Yes, we tested it.
It looked like they tested it last night and it looked really good.
It is really good. It's buggy. The demo is very buggy.
Yeah, it's not ready yet.
But
can you stack on people?
what do you
like
mean?
jump on top of each other's head.
No, there's no collision.
Sad. No play.
Okay, so, but no. So in the game, everybody can stand in the exact same spot, overlapping each other, and that is how imposters get a kill off.
Without anyone knowing.
Yeah, for plausible deniability.
You can also affect how far people can see, even in first-person view.
Nice.
That's cursed.
Okay, you can only see 5 feet in front of you.
Oh, there's worse. There's like just a foot. You can set it to the minimum.
Can you see like the
Basically, perform your tasks as fast as you can and hope that you don't die.
Well, yeah. Well, the lights can get turned off still.
But yes, if you would like to play we'll be playing the regular Among Us until this comes out on our community events. So you're welcome to join us for that, chat bros. If you are traitors and schnancies and don't join us, you'll all be judged and crucified. Yeah, extra fish. We'll just put up a board and then nail you to it because you don't have arms.
In the frying pan.
We don't really have arms.
Directly onto the grill.
Yes, nice fried bucket fish. Tasty. No.
Tastes like rubber.
Tastes like rubber. So yes, chat. We'll see you in the Among Us stream. Thank you for joining us for this week's Bunchcast. A lot of great things happening in the industry. A lot of weird things happening too, and a lot of cursed things. We'll see you in the next stream. Have a great night. Goodbye, Chatfish. Bye.
Later.
See ya.